cars and drivers are ready to challenge the most historic and perhaps the toughest road course in North America, Watkins Glen. The Winston Cup Tour has reached stop number 18 of the 1991 season, the Budweiser at the Glen.
Damn this traffic jam, how I hate to be late. It hurts my motor to go so slow. Damn this traffic jam, time I get home my supper will be cold. Damn this traffic jam. Now I almost had a heart attack looking in my rearview mirror. I saw myself the next car back looking in the rearview mirror, about to have a heart attack. I said, damn this traffic jam, how I hate to be late. It hurts my motor to go so slow. Time I get home my supper will be cold. Damn this traffic jam. Now I used to think that I was cool running around on fossil fuel until I saw what I was doing was driving down the road to ruin.
ESPN, the world's leader in motorsports coverage, presents Speed World. Today, live from Watkins Glen International Raceway in New York, it's the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race. We have partly sunny skies here at Watkins Glen today, a 30% chance of rain later this afternoon. Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Bob Jenkins, and we not only have a traffic jam of people trying to get into this racetrack, but we have seen major traffic jams on the racetrack in the years that we have been coming here. Winston Cup drivers aren't all that accustomed to running on road courses. This is the second and final one of 1991, the first, of course, at Sears Point, won by Davey Allison. No less than 7 drivers have suffered serious damage to their cars here in practice and qualifying. And 4 of them, Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison, Ken Schrader, and Harry Gant, are in the top 10 in points. Michael Waltrip had a big crash on Friday. Dave Marcus was the most recent yesterday afternoon. For more on this, let's go to the grid and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Bob, it's been a matter of injured stars and injured cars. Now, Dave Marcus is in a backup car. Actually, this is his Darlington car, not a road race car. He will drop to the back of the field and start today's race. Don't expect a lot from this car, not designed for road course racing. Likewise, Michael Waltrip destroyed his Pontiac. He will start a backup car back in the field, and he fractured his right scapula, his right shoulder blade. He will probably get relief before the afternoon is over. But Ricky Rudd, who won 2 of the last 3 races here, tore this car all to pieces. They borrowed a nose piece from the Dale Earnhardt team, this black nose piece, to rebuild the Chevrolet aluminum. In fact, they cut this car off right back here at the D in tie and replaced the whole rear section of this car. Now, Ricky Rudd had to start way back in 22nd spot, so he'll have his work cut out for him. For Royal, watching cars has trouble in practice. Let's go up pit road to John Kernan.
Well, Jerry, certainly the weather has been a factor. A lot of rain on Friday cut back on practice time. The drivers were unable to get used to these radial tires. Now, this is the first time in a Winston Cup race on a road course that Goodyear has rolled out its radial tire. And as we've seen at other tracks, the drivers have to somewhat change their style just a little bit. They can't sling the car around like they might have on a bias ply tire, because with a stiffer sidewall, the radials are less forgiving. Experience on the radials, a key, and probably the guy with the most radial experience here at Watkins Glen will be leading the charge toward Benny Parsons when the green flag falls.
John, I'm in my favorite spot, turn 1. Terry Labonte on the pole will be coming down through here, up to 140 miles per hour, braking, slowest part of the racetrack, down to 65 miles per hour. A good place to pass if the fellow on the outside happens to know you're there. If he doesn't, you're in big trouble. Watch, as Rusty Walsh tries to get by Earnhardt last year, Earnhardt did not know he's there. Both cars spun. Most of the time here, when you have a crash, it's a fender bender. But once they get through here, go through the S's, up the back straightaway to turn 5, it's not a fender bender up there. That's the fastest part of the racetrack, and that's where Ned Jarrett is.
Benny, they reach speeds of upwards of 170 miles an hour before they decelerate to come into turn 5, and you're right. If they get in trouble here, it is big-time trouble. They decelerate some 80 to 90 miles an hour, though, as they get into the center of this horseshoe turn. You see the cars coming around now on their pace lap. But, Bob, most of that trouble that happened that you fellas talked about happened right here in turn 5. But after that much trouble in the days leading up to a race, it seems like the guys sort of calmed down a little bit. Let's hope that'll be the case today.
Let's hope so, Ned. Let's take a look at the quest for the Cup standings. Dale Earnhardt has a 160-point lead on Ricky Rudd. Coming into this race last year, Earnhardt was 1 point behind Mark Martin, who right now is in 5th position. Now, you think of Ricky Rudd and Rusty Wallace as the dominant drivers on road courses, but look at this. The average finish in the last 5 times that we have come here at the Glen, and the best average finishing position belongs to Dale Earnhardt, with Rudd and Wallace second and third, followed by Morgan Shepherd and then Mark Martin. We're just moments away from the beginning of the Budweiser at the Glen. Our Speed World coverage being brought to you today by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil. By Goodyear, the unanimous choice of every NASCAR Winston Cup team. And by today's Chevrolet, who invites you to see why more people are winning with the heartbeat of America. And we'll be back to introduce the 40 starters in this race here today, after this from Watkins Glen. Today, ESPN is presenting the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. You will have a chance to win a 1991 Chevy Lumina of your choice, the 2-door coupe, the 4-door sedan, the APV, or the fabulous C34. Now, to enter, all you do is dial 1-900-933-9300 before the halfway lap. You'll be asked your phone number and the number of the Chevy car competing in the race, which you think will be the first Chevy to finish. The winners will be selected in a random drawing of correct entries and announced in our next Chevy Sweepstakes. Call in to win right now. Congratulations to our most recent winners. The first Pocono race on June 16th, the Chevy Sweepstakes winner was Ron Moore from White Oak, Texas. And our second Pocono race on July 21st, the winner was Joan Sellen from Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now let's take a look at the Sears Die Hard starting grid for today's Budweiser at the Glen. The pole sitter, his first since North Wilkesboro in 1988, is Terry Labonte in the Sunoco Oldsmobile with a new track record, 121.652. Starting alongside him in row number 1 will be Mark Martin in the Folgers Coffee Ford, car number 6. Going to the second row, it's Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet, car number 4. And then starting in 4th position, the hometown favorite, Jeff Bodine from nearby Chemung, New York, driving the Budweiser Ford, car number 11. Outstanding performance by Wally Dallenbach, driving a Jack Roush car, number 90. He starts in the 3rd row along with Ken Schrader. Row number 4 consists of Darrell Waltrip and the points leader, Dale Earnhardt. As you look at the rest of the starting lineup for this event, you can see that the cars are on their second warm-up. Now, they came down through pit road here just a few minutes ago, and they'll be entering pit road at a controlled speed of 35 miles an hour. It's quite a bit slower than the rest of the racetracks, but the pits are very tight here at Watkins Glen, and so 35 will be the limit as they come down here today. As you look at the starting lineup, you can see that several very top-name drivers are among those starting in the rear of the field. Rusty Wallace had an engine problem and qualified 21st, the 3rd quick, however, of all, and Ricky Rudd will start in 22nd position. They come off of corner number 7 here at the Budweiser at the Glen and look for a green flag that will get us underway for 90 laps of action, and the green flag is out. Here we go, and they're headed toward turn 1 and Benny Parsons.
Here they come, one of the 8 abreast back in the middle of the pack, but they've all got to funnel down to one lane if they're going to make it through. Terry Labonte, the pole sitter, gets by. There is cars 2 abreast going through the corner. So far, so good as they go through turn 1. Head for turn 2. Cars still 2 abreast, as you can see. But they're getting sorted out pretty doggone good. Yeah, they're coming toward you.
And at a good rate of speed, Benny, as they come off of turn 4 into turn 5. We have a special laser gun that we're going to be shooting speeds of them a little later here today as we're inside of Dale Jarrett's car there right now. Terry Labonte leads them into this turn, and they're awfully bunched up, Bob, as they come off of this turn.
And some great telemetry from Dale's car. You saw him reach a maximum speed about 176 miles an hour, and as you indicated, Ned, he was about 100 miles an hour reduced going into corner number 5. Everybody screaming through. And And now the 7th turn as they come on to the main straightaway here, and they complete lap number 1. It is Terry Labonte, followed by Mark Martin. Back in 3rd position is Jeff Bodine, followed by Ernie Irvin, Schrader, Dallenbach, then Dorsey Schrader, and the 17 car of Darrell Waltrip.
Terry Labonte was able to take that pole position and lead the first lap. Mark Martin is on his tail pretty good, and there comes Jeff Bodine, as you said, the hometown favorite. He and Brett Bodine grew up about 30 miles from here in Chemung, New York.
And as the graphic showed you, Terry Labonte had not led a lap since Talladega back in May of 1990, but he has led the first lap, and he is continuing to lead as they're down the backstretch once again.
But getting a little pressure now, Bob, from Mark Martin as they head into turn 5. We understand that Dave Marcus has slowed on the racetrack. Jeff Bodine continues to run 3rd, Ernie Irvin 4th, and Kenny Schrader in 5th place.
Well, of course, Dave Marcus was one of those involved in the accidents that we talked about. He had a big crash yesterday afternoon in the late afternoon practice, and that car not operating for him well this afternoon, and he is well off of the pace. Now, perhaps we can get more on this situation as we go to Dr. Punch in the pits.
I spoke to Marcus just moments ago, and the car is not, of course, his road course car. It does not have a road course transmission in it. And in order not to be a hazard, he was going to drop back because the car is vibrating, not handling. I'm not going to take a chance on losing another race car here at Watkins Glen. I got too many races coming up, so he will probably park it here in the early laps. Bob?
All right. So Dave Marcus slow on the racetrack, while on the 1st and 2nd turns, we see a battle shaping up for 3rd position. Ernie Irvin in car number 4 has that 3rd spot right now, but Jeff Bodine is right behind, followed closely by Ken Schrader and then Wally Dallenbach as the field begins to get strung out just a little bit once again. Pretty much single file racing at this moment as everybody is kind of playing it cool here in the opening laps of this event. 90 laps make up this race. That's a little over 218 miles.
Here's Ken Schrader making move on the inside of Jeff Bodine, taking over 4th, coming into turn 5. He just drove it down in there hard, outbraked Bodine, and took the position.
We're going to see most of the passing here this afternoon, or at least traditionally most of the passing has occurred where Ned is coming off the backstretch heading into turn number 5, and where Benny is as they come off of the front stretch here and go into turn number 1. We're watching right now Wally Dallenbach Jr. in car number 90, following closely Jeff Bodine. As they battle for position, Wally Dallenbach Jr. will have a ride with Jack Roush next year, a 2nd car operated by that team.
We see Dallenbach pulling out, trying to outbrake Jeff Bodine down in turn 1. He gives it a shot, can't make it, has to fall back. And the 24 car right behind Dallenbach is Dorsey Schrader, the Trans Am champion, who is driving for Team 3 and Barry Dodson this weekend.
We see the guys with experience on the road courses doing well, despite the fact that they're not Winston Cup regulars, such as Dorsey Schrader. We expect a good performance by him. Here's another guy that we expected a good performance from because he's a road racer, Irv Hare. However, as you can see, there's major problems with that car as smoke is pouring from the rear end of it.
Looks like a blown engine through the S's. Now he's trying to get over out of the way. He crosses over to the inside of the racetrack to let the faster cars go on the outside by Ned Jarrett.
But boy, it really has created a traffic jam behind him, Benny. Everybody's really afraid. They don't know if there's oil that he's putting down or what the situation is, but he does try to get out of the way on the inside of the track.
Schrader's in 4th, then Jeff Bodine, then Dallenbach, and Dorsey Schrader. There's the Sitco car driven by Dale Jarrett, and once again we'll show you the telemetry coming from this car, the 4 telemetry that we have in operation here this afternoon, showing you all kinds of acceleration and braking and shifting of gears. We can see the speed going up as Dale goes between the 1st and 2nd corners up to 119, now up to 120. The RPMs there at 7,300. Fluctuating between 71 and 7,800. The throttle responses, Dale has it all the way to the floor now on the backstretch. He's in 4th gear. Some great information coming from the Ford telemetry. And now he begins to apply the brakes as he sets the car into turn number 5. It gets way off the throttle, shifts to 3rd, speed reducing to about 88 miles an hour, all the way down to 86 before he comes out of the corner and begins to stand on the throttle once again and accelerate up to 120. 135. Look at the speed increase. Out of turn number 5, headed for turn number 6. Speed gear creasing once again. Second gear.
And here's trouble, big trouble here in turn 5.
Oh, a car is upside down.
Bob, there are 2 cars. They came in here so fast, and one of them did hit the other one and did get upside down. Both of them hit very, very hard.
I believe that's J.D. McDuffie, who is on his roof.
And one of the drivers is coming out of the car right now.
That's Jimmy Means. And now he's going to see if he can assist J.D. McDuffie in getting out of his car. McDuffie's car is on its roof, and Jimmy Means is calling for assistance. This is turn number 5, the one that has created so many problems here at Watkins Glen, not only in Winston Cup racing, but also in GTP competition. There's McDuffie.
There's a wheel. Where in the world did that wheel come from as J.D. plows in the wall, and evidently he has, and Jimmy Means goes into the wall while Means is in the air. Thank the Lord that he went in there while J.D. was up in the air.
It appeared as if that wheel had come off the car before he left the racetrack and went on to the grassy area there, but there is major damage to the wall, as you can see, and of course our major concern is the condition of J.D. McDuffie. The other car involved is Jimmy Means, and he is already out of his car. The ambulance on the scene now assisting J.D. We'll be back with more from the Budweiser at the Glen in a moment.
Back to the garage.
That was unbelievable. Unbelievable. Are we doing what you want? I mean, is this... Hey, Jenkins, if we have that telemetry on those cars coming down, let me have it come in turn 1.
Sure, okay. Okay. They're red flagging the race. Race has been stopped. What are we at? 3 laps? 6 laps. On lap 6 of this 90-lap event here at Watkins Glen, the race has been stopped. We've had a serious crash over in turn number 5, and here is a replay of what happened. J.D. McDuffie and Jimmy Means involved. This is McDuffie, the wheel already off the car, sliding off the track into the grass. He makes hard contact with that tire barrier in turn number 5. Then the car overturns. Meanwhile, Jimmy Means also slides into the tire barrier. His car stays upright, but Means, or rather McDuffie's car, is in an inverted state at the moment. Now, Means was able to climb out of his car almost immediately. He went to check on J.D. McDuffie and signaled for the ambulance, and the ambulance, as you can see, has arrived on the scene. Here's Ned with Jimmy.
Well, thank goodness Jimmy Means is out here walking around. A little bit of a skin there on the chin. Everything else okay, Jimmy?
Yeah, Ned, I don't know what happened. You know, I've been looking. JD's been in my mirror the whole time, and you know, I was kind of watching him. He's running really good, and I don't know where I cut down on him or he come in there, lost his brakes or what. But next thing I knew, it, you know, hit me in the side. I hope he's all right. You know, he took a pretty bad leg there, so I'm fine. But I don't know about JD.
Well, you went right under him. It looked like when his car was up in the air.
Yeah, I believe it did. You know, I don't know what happened. It just seemed like you know, if you lose your brakes going down that straightaway, and nothing else to do. But I don't know if that's what happened or not.
Well, we appreciate you coming by and chatting with us, and hope everything else is okay.
Thank you, Neil.
Jimmy Means, one of those involved in this crash down in turn number 5. This is the same corner that Tom Kendall was injured in a few weeks ago in a GTP car when his suspension or hub broke on that car, and he went in hard and is now probably watching this race this afternoon from his home in California and doing well in his recuperation from leg and feet injury suffered in that crash. And now we are looking at the scene of the crash where they continue to try to get J.D. McDuffie out of that car. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Bob, I'm standing in J.D. McDuffie's pit, and as you see, most of the crew members who work on J.D.'s car week in and week out are not here. They have already left to go back to the garage area to check on J.D.'s condition. Now, they had radioed to J.D. a couple of times after the accident and had not heard back from him. That doesn't mean that J.D. is injured, doesn't mean anything at all. As a matter of fact, if you remember back at Talladega when they had the major pileup in May, the crew of Kyle Petty couldn't talk to Kyle because Kyle's radio had come unconnected, which is not uncommon with an impact on a racetrack, and they thought Kyle was more seriously injured than he was. And they were, of course, afraid. But the crew here are unable to talk to JD, so they have left the pit area, headed back to the garage area to try to get more information. And we'll update you when we hear more from down here.
You just never know about the severity of these crashes. As you indicated, Jerry, some that look very bad turn out to be not all that bad as far as injuries are concerned. And on the other hand, some that don't look too bad can result in serious injuries. All we can do right now is just pray that JD is okay and he can be gotten out of that car quickly into the ambulance and treated at a local hospital. In the meantime, with the race stopped here at Watkins Glen, we'll take this break.
Hey, Neil. Neil, it looks like a spindle broke on the thing or something. I mean, with the tire flying like that, it looks like if there's a spotter down there, somebody might walk down and find that wheel and see if the spindle is broken or whatever, you know. I see.
Thank you very much, Mikey. Bob Jenkins, Betty Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Watkins Glen International, the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race, which ran 6 laps and then was halted by a serious crash in turn number 5 involving J.D. McDuffie and Jimmy Means. Jimmy Means is okay. We have already talked with him. He had a cut on his chin, but other than that was fine. The condition of J.D. McDuffie remains unknown at this time. The drivers, meanwhile, have parked their cars here on the main straightaway, and they have gotten out and began to chat with each other about how their cars are operating here in the early laps of this race, perhaps exchanging information as to what will be the case in the rest of this race.
Well, who knows what these fellows are talking about? I guess they're talking about how their car's running. Look, I'm faster than you are, so when you see me in the mirror, please get over, will you? Don't give me any kind of trouble. There we see Ernie Irvin, Kenny Schrader, Wally Dallenbach. Now, there is a happy young man. As you said, Bob, announced here Friday that he is going to drive on the Winston Cup circuit in 1992 as a team car to Mark Martin with Jack Roush. We asked Roush how many races. It's a minimum of 10 races. Depending upon the sponsorship, they could run 18. If the right sponsor comes along, they would run the entire circuit, 29 races in 1992. So when you see Wally Dallenbach Jr., you are seeing a happy man. He's married to a girl who used to be a race car driver, Robin McCall. They have a child, and they live in Colorado right now, but Wally told me the home is up for sale in Colorado, and they are planning on moving to Charlotte. He said, I want to be in Winston Cup racing for a long, long time.
There you see the group of drivers beginning to disperse now as each goes back to his car, or perhaps are going to a central location. They are still at the scene of J.D. McDuffie and Jimmy Means' crash in turn number 5. John Kernan was with Rusty Wallace.
Well, Rusty is getting a nice cool drink standing out here on the other side of pit wall. And Rusty, got your work cut out for you today, starting back, a spark plug problem the first round of qualifying?
Yeah, I went to qualify and a spark plug closed up on it, and when the plug closed up, it just run on 7 cylinders. So I had to requalify the second day and start back in the back. And just everybody's getting sorted out right now. I just need to get a little room. We can start passing cars to get up there.
it's got to be kind of tough on your mental outlook going into this race because you're not used to starting these road races back here in the middle of the pack.
Well, you'd rather start up front. We're only 6 laps into it. This is a 90-lapper, so got a long time to go.
I guess it's more of a survival game, the first half of one of these races, maybe first half, 3/4 on one of these tough road courses.
Well, you want to make sure that you don't, the first half, you want to make sure your car's handling, and if you got any changes you need to make, you better get them planned out. Basically, that's about it. You know, just take it easy. Make sure you don't do anything weird the first half. Be a little conservative getting into corners, although you want to get up front. It doesn't pay any money to run up front right now.
That's Rusty Wallace. We've got Sterling Marlin, who's also climbed out of his car, and we will try and get back to Sterling in a minute. Let's go down pit road to Jerry Punch.
Well, at the head of the field, gentlemen, a lot of the drivers have climbed out and are standing around. The guy who led the first lap and sat on the pole here, Terry Labonte. And Terry, first of all, congratulations on a great effort in the pole. And you were anxious to get out there and lead that first lap.
Well, I don't know why. You know, it's a long race, but got a good start on the start, and the car's running good. So I noticed Ernie was coming up pretty fast back there. So it ought to be a good show when we go back to racing.
Here's a man who dominated a Busch race here a month or so ago. And over here to my left, we'll talk. Ernie Irvin is sitting in third spot in the Kodak Chevrolet. And Ernie, looks like Terry got a little jump on you guys.
Yeah, I think he had a rocket ship underneath him when he took off. He wanted to make sure he made it to the first turn first, and he did that.
The radials feel pretty good to you?
They really do. It's amazing how good they feel. I think it's taken us all a little while to get used to them because they're a tire you can't really get broke loose and then gather it back up. So we just can't throw the car around as much. But you know, now I can feel myself getting a little loose, and it doesn't seem to bother us. So we'll come back next year and not have any trouble.
Let me just quickly say hello to two guys that Jack Roush has made very happy. Of course, the young man who had a tremendous year last year, Mark Martin, was running second. Mark, think you can handle Terry?
Well, I don't know. I wish that was the only guy I had to worry about. We're awful strong. The Folgers Thunderbird is great. We're ready for them, but there's going to be a half a dozen that are really hard to beat here today.
Mark is going to be one of them. And Wally Dallenbach Jr., the young man who had an announcement we mentioned before and will drive next year for Jack Roush and driving a good car. Wally, you're giving them all they can handle here in your first Winston Cup start on a road course.
Well, we're trying to. We've got a great car this weekend, and it's great to start this far up front. And we're just going to try to get through half this race and then be able to race at the end, I hope.
We're very happy for you. That's a great announcement, and you're with a good team.
Thank you. It should be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Wally Dallenbach Jr., he'll be in contention all afternoon, as will the other 3 or 4 drivers we talked to here at the front of the grid. Bob?
And Wally will restart in 6th position when we go back to green. Our concern is for the condition of J.D. McDuffie, involved in a serious crash down in turn 5. That's the reason for our red flag. Back in a moment. What was I going to say? Oh, Benny and Ned, you can help me on this replay if you want.
Okay. Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race has been stopped on the 6th lap because of a crash in turn number 5. Involved J.D. McDuffie and Jimmy Means. Now, Jimmy is okay. They continue to work at the scene on the J.D. McDuffie car. Here is a look at the crash once again. Again, this is at the end of turn number 5. The tire has come off the car, and J.D. goes into that barrier
and the tires and overturns, and Jimmy Means, then his car also comes in and hits the tires, but it does not overturn. And there is the crash scene right now, as many ambulances and safety officials are on the scene. As soon as we know something, we will pass the word along to you. In the meantime, let's run down the order that they are running right now. The leader of the race is Terry Labonte. He grabbed the lead at the drop of the green flag from the pole position and continues to hold on to the lead. Mark Martin is second, then Irvin Schrader and Jeff Bodine. Running 6 through 10, there's Wally Dallenbach and Dorsey Schrader, Lake Speed, Darrell Waltrip, and Dale Earnhardt. Alan Kulwicki is running 11th, then Brett Bodine. Bill Elliott has made a significant move in the first few laps of this race. Dale Jarrett and Morgan Shepherd are running 14th and 15th. Chad Little is 16th, then Ricky Rudd, who also has moved up 4 positions from his starting spot. Harry Gant, Sterling Marlin, and Rusty Wallace, who has moved up 1 spot. Derek Cope, Rick Wilson, Joe Ruttman, Bobby Hillen, and Richard Petty are 21 through 25. 26 through 30 include Hut Strickland, Jimmy Spencer, Davey Allison, John Paul Jr., and Rick Mast. Bobby Hamilton, Michael Waltrip, Kim Campbell making his first Winston Cup start. Ted Musgrave and Jim Durhog also making his first Winston Cup start in 35th position. And then Oma Kimbrough, Dave Marcus, and Irv Hare. We noticed Davey Allison all the way down in 28th position. He was in the pits before the race started. John Kernan is there.
Well, Davey is far back now, a lot farther than you qualified, the top 10 qualifying spot, but you had a problem with the throttle linkage at the start of the race.
Yeah, the Heim joint on the throttle linkage froze up, and the throttle was hanging wide open, so we had to do something. There's no way I could drive around this racetrack, you know, and try to be smooth and keep from crashing with the thing hanging up. But Robert and Devin, Larry, and all the guys jumped on it, and they got the thing changed. And we were working our way back up through there pretty good when the accident happened up there. So I just hope JD's fine. We'll take care of the car on the racetrack, but I just hope JD's okay and Jimmy's all right.
You know, you shocked a lot of people about your road course driving ability back in June at Sears Point. You came out here and things kind of started off a little on the bad side for you.
Yeah, you know, I'm wearing a splint on my hand from having my hand broken, and first thing everybody says was it because of your hand? Did you crash because of your hand? I said, no, I crashed because of my head. I didn't use it. And I just drove down in the corner too fast on the first lap. I either hooked the curb or hit something that I shouldn't have hit and lost the car and spun out and hit the wall. So they jumped on the car and fixed it. Nobody got depressed. They all jumped on there and worked hard, and you know, the thing's running good. So I got to say, they're doing a great job for me. You know, it makes the driver feel good too when he makes a mistake like that and the crew doesn't get on his case. They come in and jump on the car with enthusiasm, and I think that's why this thing runs so good.
Well, Bob, I think Davey will be one of the drivers you'll hear from as the afternoon wears on. He was in turn 6 when the green flag fell, and he's already passed a number of cars and is slowly working his way toward the front.
Davey Allison driving with a broken finger as the field waits here on the main straightaway for a restart of this Budweiser at the Glen. Again, a crash has brought the race to a halt. Last year's Budweiser at the Glen saw a continuation of the Wallace-Rudd domination of road course racing. Winston Cup replays are brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. A near-capacity crowd at Watkins Glen as Dale Earnhardt was the surprise pole sitter last year, his first road course pole since Riverside 1979. Terry Labonte started alongside in row 1. The defending champion, Rusty Wallace, moved from his 4th starting position to take the lead on the 9th lap. Rusty used all the track and then some as he began to move away from the rest of the field. While battling for the lead on lap 45, Wallace and Earnhardt tangled, sending Dale sideways, but he was able to continue and wound up in 7th. Wallace just 1 lap later retired with engine failure and finished 34th. Mark Martin, in a backup car after crashing earlier in the weekend, experienced 3 flat tires in the last 19 laps. He came back to finish in 5th position, and he maintained his Winston Cup points lead. The 1988 winner here at the Glen, Ricky Rudd, took his first checkered flag of the year and the first for car owner Rick Hendrick. In a great battle for second, Jeff Bodine edged his brother Brett. Rudd's victory gave him 5 career road course wins. That was last year here at the Budweiser at the Glen. This year, after 6 laps, the race has been halted because of a crash in turn number 5 involving J.D. McDuffie and Jimmy Means. Once again, oh, sure. No problem. So what's the deal back there? Have they got...
Well, Richter and Beatty and everybody is back here now. They're still trying to get him out of the car.
Well, can't they overturn it?
They're getting close now. But
oh, speed week, huh? Do they have it up on its wheels?
No,
Ned?
no, they do not. No, it's still just where it landed.
Wow.
And they're figuring out the directions out of here right now. But
they're going to have to do some repairs back there at the fence, too,
yeah,
before they start this thing again. Okay. Yeah, right. Good idea.
Yeah, it's going to take them a good while to, once they get him out, then get the car away, and then repair the guardrail, because they pushed it back about 6 feet and just mangled it, the guardrail.
We're on satellite. Welcome back to the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race. We are under a red flag condition. 6 laps have been completed. Terry Labonte is the leader of the race, but there is the crash scene at turn number 5. It's going to be a very lengthy delay. First of all, they will have to attend to J.D. McDuffie, and then they're going to have to repair the fence that was, as you can see, very badly damaged in that 2-car crash. So let's go to the pit area and Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, thank you, Bob. The drivers, as we all are, concerned about the condition of J.D. McDuffie. We're standing behind pit wall with Darrell Waltrip and Dale Jarrett, 2 of the drivers who could be a major factor in the outcome of today's race. And first, DW, sitting 9th on the field. You're a veteran road racer, and how do the radial tires feel to you? I know you only had a few laps out there, but you practiced on them for a few days, and a lot of the guys are pretty pleased with them.
Yeah, the tires are fine. What happens, it takes a couple laps for the heat to get in them. They're a little bit, I don't know, they're a little uncomfortable, I guess is a good way to put it. Not real secure feeling for the first lap or so, but then as the heat builds and the tire warms up, then it really starts to stick, and then you can really start to go. I lost a couple of spots because my car wasn't comfortable on the start, but it was coming back just when the caution came out. So, you know, the longer we stay up under green, I think the better off all of us will be.
The radial tires, they say, allow you to go into turns a little quicker. Does that concern you with regard to the brake heat, maybe?
Yeah. What the tire does is it has less rolling resistance. In other words, if you roll a radial tire down through here, it'll roll all the way down to the turn down there. If you roll a bias tire, it'll kind of bog down and it'll quit rolling and fall over. And so when we're going down these straightaways into these turns, when you let off the gas, the tire doesn't just bite and make you slow down. The tire wants to continue to roll. It rolls real freely through the turn and into the turn. And a lot of times your entrance into the turns are probably 10 mile an hour faster than you're accustomed to.
Well, Darrell, thanks for joining us. We know you want to get over to back to your pits, and they're preparing lunch for you there. He radioed in and said, make sure you have lunch ready when I get in here and have a little break here, unfortunately. And we're joined by Dale Jarrett and driving the Citgo Ford. And Dale, you're one of the newcomers on the Winston Cup circuit as far as road racing is concerned, but you've done an awfully good job here. Where did you learn to be such a good road racer?
Well, I don't know how good I am. I enjoy it, first of all. It's a lot of fun. I guess the credit that I would have to give would be Bob Bondurant and Bill Cooper out at when they were in California out there. I went out there before I ever ran my first road race, before I could develop any bad habits, I guess. And they taught me a lot about it and everything that I know here. And, you know, I'm appreciative to them for that fact. And I've got a good race car here. That makes a lot of difference whenever you have a car that you can drive. And the guys have just done a super job getting it prepared. The engine's running great. We had a little problem right there before we got the caution as I came to turn 6, downshifted and as I started to pick the throttle back up, the car cut off. It just quit running, and I was just glad that Brett was paying attention behind me and didn't hit me. I reached over and switched the boxes, and apparently one of the ignition boxes went bad all of a sudden, so I switched the boxes and it fired right back up. So hopefully the problem's going to be solved, and we can go back to racing as soon as we find out that JD's okay.
Well, we'll give Bob Bondurant some credit. Also, Ned Jarrett, his father, may have some credit because he finished second here and nearly won another race when he had a problem with a few laps to go. So, Ned, you did pretty well with this guy. Let's go up pit road where John Kernan is standing by with Michael Waltrip and Dave Marcus.
Well, Michael, you hit the fence pretty hard the other day. You've got a broken shoulder blade. How are you feeling?
I feel real good. There isn't any problem with me making the distance, I don't think, and judging from the laps I ran yesterday and practicing again this morning. The car that I wrecked yesterday or Friday was a great car. It's a brand new road course car, and it's really a shame to tear it up. This car we have here that we're racing today is the car I finished 4th with here last fall, so it should be a good car, but we just didn't get all the bugs worked out of it. It wants to go north when I want to go south, and we're having a little bit of trouble out there, but you know, I just hate to give away an opportunity like this for my team and for Pennzoil to have a victory, but it looks like that's what we've done. We'll just have to try to scramble to try to improve this car any we can between now and the end of the race. Just a shame.
You know, we've seen a lot of drivers into the wall in practice. Has it been getting used to the radial tire? You can't sling it out as you could a bias ply?
Well, my situation, I think, was I hate to hang it on that because we'll come back here next year and a year beyond and say, you know, why did we ever have a problem with that? Because you get used to it. But my situation, you know, a few people had crashed and I was tiptoeing into the corners and really being careful, and never dreamed I'd wreck. And when I was on the way off of one of the corners, I hit a curb, and when the radials lose traction, they're more susceptible to spinning all the way out than a bias ply. You know, they'll just kind of bias ply roll with you and grab the track, where as a radial is solid, it doesn't have as big a contact patch when it lands. So that sent me on my way, and you know, sent me to the hospital for a little while. But you know, I hate to pin it on that, but there's a lot of good guys that wrecked. You know, Ricky Rudd, Harry Gant, myself. So it's definitely a little tougher this week.
Okay, Michael, thank you. Moving over to Dave Marcus. Dave hit the wall pretty hard yesterday, and you told me this morning your neck was just a little bit stiff.
It's a little bit sore when I bend it down, but as far as turning it left and right, it's pretty good.
And when you hit the tire barrier, you got a tire barrier and a wall. Does that get the job done, or is it more susceptible with the way that gives a little bit, maybe to injure you further?
Well, I'm not sure. There's a controversy on the tires, are they good or aren't they, but certainly they help cushion it. But I think everyone's concern is everyone that has hit the wall this week, even with the tires in front of it, the wall has given way behind it. So our question is the wall really safe? I mean, even with the tire supporting it in front, it's still been extensive damage to the wall every time it's been hit this week.
Thank you very much, Dave. Dave, of course, destroyed his car yesterday. He's in a backup car today. And now let's go down pit road to Jerry Punch.
Well, thank you, John. Ricky Rudd, who climbed out of his Tide Chevrolet. We told you at the top of the show the car had to be totally rebuilt. And, Ricky, it has been an eventful week here. This has been a great track for you over the years. 2 wins in the last 3 times you've come here. But Thursday was a pretty black day.
Well, it really wasn't one of our better days, Jerry, for sure. But crews worked real hard, put this piece back together. We rolled a backup car out, and it just wasn't going to be competitive like we needed it to be. So these guys elected to cut all the sheet metal off the backup car and put it on this the number 1 car, and they've done that. The only disadvantage, we're in the back of the pack. That shouldn't be a big problem. The car's running good enough, I feel like, to win the race. We just got to try to miss all these early caution flags. It's going to take place for sure, because turn 5 back there is awful treacherous.
Now, I talked to your car owner, Rick Hendrick, and he said, you know, they called me back at the shop in Charlotte after Thursday and said that Ricky had a problem with the car, and they wanted to cut the back end off my car, meaning Rick Hendrick's car, the one he ran in the ARCA race at Topeka, and put it on your car. I said, no, just race my car, because I led with it at Topeka out there, and it's a good race car. And then he called back and said, this car is 2 seconds slower than it needs to be. And Hendrick said, you guys are just spoiled. You got everything perfect, and he's been razzing you a little bit.
Well, we've been kind of giving him a hard time. He was out in Topeka, Kansas, running the ARCA race, and he qualified 3rd out there in his run against Kenny Schrader, and those two were going to really go at each other. You know, it was a big rival. You would have thought it was a Daytona 500 or something, but I told Rick if he'd had this car that I'm driving, the one that got tore up originally, he could have lapped Schrader. So now Rick's going to go back, build him a new car, and get ready for this race. He races about once a year, and he's getting ready for the big Topeka race again next year this time. But that's an awful good race car we've got. I guess we didn't realize how good it was until we rolled out a supposedly good backup car and found out that the number 1 car was quite a bit better.
Ricky, we'll let you go, get back toward the garage area with some of the crew. Ricky Rudd here, who will be back in 22nd spot, looking to have a good run here as we resume racing here very shortly. Bob?
Thank you, gentlemen, for your interviews down there on pit road as we are under red here at the Budweiser at the Glen after 6 laps because of a crash in turn number 5 involving Jimmy Means and J.D. McDuffie. We'll be back with more of our live coverage from Watkins Glen after this. Is Benny okay down there? We haven't heard from him recently.
Still here.
Okay.
What was you asking for help on? I thought you...
The replay.
But you'd already voiced it.
No, the replay of JD's crash.
Ah, okay.
Check that out, that run now.
Here at Watkins Glen International in Watkins Glen, New York, the Budweiser at the Glen is under a red flag delay because of a crash. As you can see, there are some rather dark clouds around, and we've had isolated showers throughout this weekend. In fact, it rained hard earlier in the weekend, but today they're only saying a 30% chance of showers. There is the scene in turn number 5. They are still attending to J.D. McDuffie. We have no word whatsoever on his condition. Let's go to John Kernan.
Well, we're with the King, Richard Petty, and Richard, a lot of races, different kinds of tracks. Do you still enjoy coming to these road courses?
Yeah, they're a little bit different. You know, I don't really usually do that good on them, but I enjoy driving the road courses. It's, I guess it's sort of a throwback to the dirt track days and stuff, because you can sort of slip and slide and still, from time to time, make pretty good time. But, you know, it's a lot of fun to drive on them.
How's the team going? Robbie Loomis, the crew chief. It seems that each week you continue to make some strides, and then some little problem, some little bug floats in there.
Well, we have a lot of trouble with that. Our big trouble is getting me qualified. You know, we usually run pretty good. The only thing, we're running in the wrong pack. Our speeds are not too bad. You know, after the race gets started, if I could qualify a little bit better, then I could run in more in the middle of the pack or more up front, then it'd show up a little bit better. But they've done a real good job with the car. The crew's getting better as far as pit stops and stuff, and the car's a whole lot better than it was at the beginning of the year, and Gob's better than last year as far as the overall program. We moved the engine program back to the shop, and that's just helped coordinate everything a little bit better, and you know, they work good with Robbie, and Robbie works good with the boys, and so far, you know, we've not done what we want to do, but we are heading in the right direction.
What about Kyle? What direction is he heading in? I understand he may be back even sooner than thought.
Well, I don't really know. I talked to him last Monday, I think, and he's going back to Charlotte this Monday to talk to Dr. Perry, the man that's been looking after him, and they're going to go over everything. I guess they'll probably x-ray him and check him out for fitness and all this stuff, and then give him a timetable, whether they say, okay, you can go next week, or whether it looks like it's going to be another month. But anyhow, they'll know probably sometime Monday or Tuesday, you know, what his status is.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's go down pit road. Jerry Punch is caught up with Lake Speed and Brett Bodine.
Two young drivers who have already begun to make a move, even in the first few laps here. Quickly, Lake Speed, you started 10th, already up to 8th spot. The car running awfully well, and congratulations on a good qualifying effort, by the way.
Well, we've overcome some problems, but everything's going along real good. The tripartite car is running well right now. We just need to be conservative. We hadn't finished one of these things. The car's been running awful well the last several races. We hadn't been able to finish one. So we got to kind of bide our time here a little bit and be cool. But if they offer me anything, I'm going to pick up the change every time I get a chance.
Indeed he will. Dueling oil companies here, by the way, Tripartite and Quaker State, and Brett Bodine driving the Quaker State Buick, and you've really made a jump. Started 18th, and now you're 12th. I mean, you're coming in a hurry.
Well, we feel real good about our chances, Jerry. You know, hometown crowd, hometown racetrack, you really get pumped up about this event. Just having to make some good moves at the start. You know, traffic's awful tight here at the start, and we made some right choices on lane selection. Found ourselves up in 12th spot. Car's running real well. We're comfortable in that position. Hopefully we can continue to move on up there. Give old Lake a battle. Give him a run for some of that change that's laying out there. And I know Lake and I right now would like to extend our best wishes to the McDuffie family. Our prayers are with them. Hopefully things will come out.
Okay, let's go back upstairs to Bob Jenkins.
Thank you, guys. Here's the situation here at Watkins Glen. We are under a red flag and probably will be for quite some time, because after the situation is cleared back up there in turn number 5 and JD is out of the car, we will have to repair the guardrail, and that could take up to an hour. So what we were going to do is bring you coverage of the Trans Am race that was run here at this racetrack yesterday with Dr. Jerry Punch, Dorsey Schrader, and others. Now, we will be coming back here with updates, and when we will have the beginning of this race again, the restart, we will come back and cover it for you live. But for right now, the repaired guardrail. And so within about 5 or 10 minutes, we hopefully are going to get this race back underway. That was the scene of the crash on lap number 6 involving J.D. McDuffie and Jimmy Means, awaiting word from NASCAR on the condition of J.D. McDuffie. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Mark Martin.
Well, Bob, Mark Martin is sitting right behind Terry Labonte in the number 2 position. When practice all got underway, he was the fastest in practice, but in qualifying, you said that there was a slight mess up on that lap?
Yeah, I messed up. I really hate it. These guys fixed me a car good enough to sit on the pole with, and I didn't do it. I'll make it up to them. I'll sit on the pole sometime when we're not the fastest car in practice or something. But anyway, we had a slip up, rain fade. But car's running great. It's been great. We've been fast in practice the whole time, and the plan is to lead the last lap, and whatever comes in between we'll take. You know, I'm not interested in leading a race right now. I'm interested in winning this thing, and so we're going to keep our tires, you know, on this thing and keep our brakes on it and be ready to go when the time comes.
Yeah, but as a race car driver, you all, that competitive edge that you have, if you see an opening, you'll go for the lead though, right?
Oh yeah, I'll take the lead this first corner when they throw the green flag if he leaves me open, you know, if I'm there and I can get it. But, you know, I want to win so bad that it's easy for me to restrain myself at the same time. As we get going and the laps start wearing, and the tires start wearing and the brakes start fading, you know, I don't have any problem with saving my stuff till when it counts, and if I have to do that, I will.
Okay, thank you, Mark Martin. The plan is to be a little bit conservative, lead that last lap, win the race. Jerry Punch?
Well, John, we have been able to climb up to the top of the tower. We are up just outside of the NASCAR's control booth, awaiting further information on the status of J.D. McDuffie. But the good news we've gotten just moments ago is that they have called all the drivers, even some of the drivers who are back in the garage area, back to their cars and told them to get buckled up because they are about to complete, I understand, the repairs at the crash scene. So they have called the drivers to their cars. In fact, let's check on the crash scene. Let's go over to turn 5 where Ned Jarrett is standing by.
Well, Jerry,
Ned?
the safety vehicles are moving away from the crash scene now. They have completed their work, so they're headed back to the pit and garage area now, so we should be able to get this race started very soon.
And certainly the enthusiasm and the spirits of the crowd have not been dampened because they are ready for some action. As I indicated, we began the red flag at about 1:17 Eastern time. So as the engines are fired now and the crowd gets ready to see some racing action, we have been under red flag for about an hour and 50 minutes. We have completed 6 laps. 90 laps comprise this race, and at the moment the pole sitter Terry Labonte is the leader of the event as they get ready to move away. Benny, how has the crowd been down there in turn number 1 where you are?
Well, Bob, they all wanted an autograph, and I went down and signed a couple, and they yelled and said, okay, 2 minutes back on the air. So I ran back up to my position, what it was 2 minutes to an update. So I left all the people standing down there wanting autographs. So I guess when the race is over, I'll have to go back and get back to Bob again. You want to come down and give me a hand?
You'll probably be there for 2-3 hours because everybody down there is going to want your autograph.
Yeah, as popular as I am, man, I'll take about 5 minutes, right?
That's right. So the safety vehicles are indeed moving to their positions around the race course while the fans are getting set for the restart of the race. There's the pace truck that will lead them around for a lap or 2 and then give them the green flag to resume our racing action.
Bob, I wouldn't be surprised if the cars don't get the green flag the first time by. As Ned Jerry reported, everything's okay back in turn 5. The racetrack is clear, so I think NASCAR would want these fans to see as much green flag racing as possible.
Well, let's hope that's the situation. Behind Terry Labonte as we restart the race, it'll be Mark Martin running in second. Third is Ernie Irvin. Fourth position would be Ken Schrader. And fifth spot will belong to the number 11 car of Jeff Bodine.
Right now, they're going to have to sit and let the cars run for a little bit. You mentioned this red flag has been for 1 hour and 50 minutes. The engines have cooled down. The oil, the water has to be heated back up before these cars come back around and take the green flag and start accelerating. So that's why they're sitting there now, is to get all the lubricants good and warm, because that is essential in a racing engine.
And we're watching Lake Speed as he gets set to go in his Trop Arctic Pontiac, one of our in-car cameras. Other in-car cameras are being carried by Dale Jarrett and Dorsey Schrader. There's Jeff Bodine as he gets ready to restart this race. As we mentioned, Jeff and Brett grew up just a few miles down the road from Watkins Glen in Chemung, New York. Jerry Punch now with Chip Williams from NASCAR.
Well, with further information on the status of J.D. McDuffie, here is Chip Williams, the Director of Public Relations for NASCAR. And Chip, what's the information?
Jerry and Bill, I regret to inform you that J.D. McDuffie has passed away. He was 53 years old. Of course, our hearts right now was with wife Ima Jean and his children, Jeff and Linda, and it's really a pretty sad day right now.
A terrible tragedy here at Watkins Glen. And of course, Chip, in the interest of safety, whenever there is a tragedy like that, you're always trying to find out possibly the cause of death to try to prevent this from happening in the future. Is there any information now as to what may have happened?
Well, right now, we don't know about the cause of death because of the autopsy is scheduled for in the morning. As far as what happened to the race car, it looks like a possibility of a wheel breaking loose. We're going to look into that. We're going to look at the race car and see what we can find out from there. Of course, we're not going to be able to do that until after the race.
A terrible tragedy here at Watkins Glen. And Chip Williams, thanks for coming out from NASCAR Control and giving us information. That was not what we wanted to hear, but unfortunately, that occurs in the sport of motorsports. Bob?
It is always difficult to report the death of any race driver. They know the dangers and the hazards, and they choose to race because they love it so very much. J.D. McDuffie was in his 653rd Winston Cup race. He had never won a Winston Cup event. But just last night, ironically enough, at Owego, New York at Shangri-La Speedway, J.D. McDuffie was involved in a celebrity race. And J.D. McDuffie, driving the 07 car, believe it or not, took the checkered flag first and won that race just down the road from Watkins Glen International, where his career ended today. J.D. got out of the car with his son Jeff watching and received the applause and the congratulations of all of those in the grandstand. J.D. McDuffie leaves his wife Jean and two children, Jeff and Linda. And our sincere condolences to all of the McDuffie family from all of us here at ESPN.
Gene, I know exactly what you're going through, sweetheart. And you fans out there, you wonder how these guys can get in these cars and go back out and restart this race. Hey, it's their job. It's what they do. There's 100,000 people here this afternoon to watch them do that job. There's not a one of these drivers that wants to be in that race car right now. They want to be in the garage area, hugging their wife, their girlfriend, their mom, their crew members, whoever. I don't want to be here now. I want to be over there looking at Ned and looking at Bob and just not saying anything. But we've got a job to do, and that's to report to you who wins, who loses, and what happens during the day. Gene, we all love you, and we're sorry.
Very strong, Benny, regarding what you've been through in the past month.
Yeah, he did it great. Nobody could have done better.
It's the first time this has ever happened in Winston Cup.
Bob, I know you're having a tough time. Hang in, buddy.
Thank you. Yeah. They going to go green this time, you know? They are, okay.
Lights are...
Okay. Oh, okay. They did count that one, didn't they? Okay. At Watkins Glen International, and the pace truck has the lights out, and the cars will be coming around this time to receive the green flag. Now, they counted that lap under yellow, so 7 laps have been completed, and we will go green on lap number 8. Again, 90 laps, about 218.5 miles make up the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race. As JD would want, the race must go on, and that's the assignment that we have this afternoon, despite this terrible tragedy that has taken the life of J.D. McDuffie. Cars move up now from turn number 5 on that short straightaway, headed to turn number 6. There's Terry Labonte, followed closely by Mark Martin, Ernie Irvin, Ken Schrader, Jeff Bodine, and Wally Dallenbach Jr., who finds himself in 6th position as we get set for the restart. Now they move around turn number 6 and head for turn number 7, the final one. If you consider the booth that is not being used here at Watkins Glen, this is turn 11, but for our purposes, it's turn number 7. The last one leading to the green flag and a restart of the Budweiser at the Glen.
Here they come down in turn 1. They look like they're about 4 abreast in the back. Come on, guys, you got to funnel down to at least 2 lanes. There we go. So far, so good. That's Wally Dallenbach on the inside. Meanwhile, Terry Labonte has the lead. Oh, look at the cars. There's the 15 car of Morgan Shepherd and Brett Bodine. Cars going through the Essex. They're heading towards Ned Jarrett back in turn 5.
And Benny, they'll be picking up speed as they come off of turn 4. The high speed on this racetrack. We'll put our laser gun into operation here and see how fast Terry Labonte does run coming in here. 159 there for a moment. Then he started slowing down very slow. Gets down to about 80 miles an hour in that turn, but everybody's looking good coming through turn 5.
Went from 174 down to about 85. The great cars for turn number 5, and then stands on the accelerator again in this short straightaway. Now here's turn number 6. Field pretty much in single file formation. And they come off of turn number 7 once again and complete a lap as we have the telemetry from Dale Jarrett's car. You see him on the brake going into turn 7, now accelerating coming out of the turn and completing another lap. The miles per hour there in the upper right will increase substantially here all the way down this long front straightaway until he brakes going into turn number 1. Now he begins to do that.
Coming right directly towards me, down 141 to 64 miles per hour. Following Bill Elliott, this is off turn 2 and off of turn 1. Now this is turn 2 up the hill. This is the series of S's. Turn 3 to the left. You don't want to hook yourself on the curb like they were talking about. This is turn 4, and now the racetrack straightens out and heads back towards his dad, Ned Jarrett.
Well, that speed increasing, Benny, as he heads this way, all the way up 169, now 172, 173, and then it starts decreasing as he starts braking coming into this turn. He's going on the outside of Chad Little coming into that turn, but everything is okay. And then, of course, the RPMs go down to 5,700 and up again.
The fastest trap speed recorded of all during the practice was 173.4, 174, I should say, .4, recorded by Ernie Irvin. Now they're moving under the bridge here at the start-finish line. You see the camera hanging right off the bottom side of that bridge, and the 42 car of Bobby Hillen has spun. Bobby Hillen in the 42 car that is normally driven by Kyle Petty, who's been out for several races because of a leg injury. He has spun, and the car is stopped.
And we've got trouble down in turn 1. Just a moment ago, Ned Jarrett was talking about Chad Little and Dale Jarrett running side by side. Well, they came down in turn 1 side by side. There was some contact, and Dale Jarrett trying to go forward, but able to keep the engine going. He's back in first gear. It says fourth gear, but I know that he's taking off for first gear as he accelerates back on the racetrack. He's going again.
So Dale Jarrett is moving up to speed once again after a spin down in turn number 1. So 2 spins on that last lap. Dale Jarrett and Bobby Hillen both getting sideways on Watkins Glen Road Course. Now Dale tries to catch up with the rest of the field.
He's got a long way to go, Bob. All the field now is through turn 5, and Dale just coming into it. We see Bobby Hillen there. He got his car going again, but he's about to go a lap down.
He sure is. Terry Labonte is right behind him as they come down the straightaway. I'm not sure Terry's going to be able to lap him here in the first turn. No, he will not, but it won't be too long before Bobby Hillen is lapped by the leader, Terry Labonte.
Here comes Ernie Irvin pulling up right behind Martin. Martin pulled about a car length off turn 1, but as going in turn 1, Ernie Irvin was right on the back bumper of that Ford.
And right behind Ernie Irvin is Wally Dallenbach Jr., who has moved to 4th position in that number 90 car. There's Ernie Irvin, runs 3rd. And now Terry Labonte looking to the inside and now the outside of Bobby Hillen, but unable to lap him. And there is Wally Dallenbach, who has taken that car to 4th position here in the early going. For those of you who are just joining us, Wally Dallenbach Jr. will have a ride with Jack Roush next year in his second car, at least 10 races and possibly the entire season if they can get a sponsor.
And that mellow yellow Pontiac we saw a moment ago just in front of Terry Labonte. There's Jeff Bodine, the Budweiser Ford, going through turn 6, a left-hander. Someone kicking up some dust direct in front of Jeff. There comes Dorsey Schrader, car 24. That's the Team 3 Pontiac. And here's an in-car camera from Schrader's car as he goes by the start-finish line. And he's heading down towards me in turn 1. He downshifts, hard braking, onto the right, back on the throttle, and drives away.
Dorsey Schrader giving that car a good ride. Now we see his footwork as he goes up through the gears.
Bob, that footwork is a little bit different than we saw on Ricky Rudd last year. You know, just a different driving style of the 2 drivers. Dorsey using that left foot, of course, on the clutch, but Ricky Rudd, he used that same foot for braking and clutch, didn't he?
Yeah, you know, and it's totally different from yesterday when we saw some footwork in the Trans Am race you saw a few minutes ago.
And Bob, you saw something that Dorsey Schrader just did that is very, very hard to do. He used his heel to give the gas, on the accelerator to give it some gas as he shifted. The pedals are so far apart. There we see Dorsey Schrader. The pedals are so far apart in the Winston Cup car. Unlike the Trans Am car, it is so hard to do. Most guys use their toe for the accelerator rather than the heel.
That's the old heel and toe method that they teach so hard in driver school, but it's so very difficult to do, especially in these Winston Cup cars. Now here's Dale Jarrett's footwork. It's a little dark down there in the Simcoe 4, but you can see him climb on the brakes with the right foot.
Yeah, you see his toe go over and hit the throttle?
Yep.
Exactly what I was talking about. Most guys use that toe. Watch his right toe. He didn't use it on that time, but a lot of times he'll reach over with his toe and give the accelerator a little pat as he's shifting gears.
Down to 2nd gear, now up to 3rd as the speeds level off. Yeah.
A little bit later, we'll get to look at Dorsey Schrader again. We'll see him do that with his heel instead of his toe.
Dale Jarrett falling back on the field after a spin down in turn number 1. He's back to 32nd position, so he's got a lot of racetrack to make up. Riding with him down that long back straightaway leading to turn number 5. Up front, it is Terry Labonte still leading Mark Martin and Ernie Irvin as they come down the front straightaway.
Ernie Irvin's car evidently is very, very good down the pit straight because every time they come in turn 1, he seems to be right on the back bumper of Mark Martin's car. As they come off turn 1 and head to turn 2, look, Martin puts a couple of car links on him. So Martin's car is good at that point. Ernie's car is good down the front straightaway.
Let's put the laser speed gun on Terry Labonte again. 175 miles an hour. Boy, that is really fast, Bob. That backstretch coming into turn 5.
Boy, it sure is. As we said, the fastest crap speed that had been recorded in the earlier part of the weekend was just under 175, but Terry apparently has just eclipsed that because our laser gun got him at 175.
First, I'm sorry, Ned, go ahead.
No, it was me. Go ahead, Benny.
One thing, the reason the cars are running faster today, because it is cool. I don't know what the temperature is, but it feels like it's in the 60s down here in turn 1, which helps these cars run down the straightaway.
And also, Bob, when they're out there practicing or qualifying, they're out there by themselves, but now they're running in a draft, and at 175 miles an hour, that draft really means a lot, which will pick the speed up some.
Terry Labonte leads the Budweiser at the Glen as Mark Martin gets the car a little bit sideways coming off corner number 1. Ernie Irvin right behind in 3rd position. We're glad you could join us for this Winston Cup race, and we'll be right back. At Watkins, Glen, and once again, here's how to enter the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. Dial 1-900-933-9300 before the halfway lap. Then stay tuned to see which car is the first Chevy to finish. If your entry is selected, you have won and will be given your choice of any Chevy Lumina, including the fabulous Z34. 1-900-933-9300, the number to dial for the Chevy Sweepstakes.
Well, Bob, as you can see, we have a 3-car breakaway. The white car that Ken Schrader just, oh, here's some pass per second. Ernie's on the inside of Martin and takes that spot away. And there's something on the back of Mark Martin's car, a piece of aluminum back by the right rear quarter. We'll have to take a look at that because we see the thing back in the right rear quarter. Something is coming loose on that car. I don't know if it's affecting the car or if it should start dragging the racetrack. Then NASCAR may jump in and make one to replace that or at least take it off.
Any idea what that is, Ned? You can see that it's hanging down there on the right rear, but you really can't tell what it is.
No, you can't, Bob. I don't know what it could be. He apparently got bumped a little bit or something, and it looked like some sheet metal from maybe under that quarter panel there, or from the rear bumper.
Well, in any case, Mark Martin has lost the second position, now back to 3rd, with Ernie Irvin in 2nd and Labonte leading. Now let's go back and check on how everybody else is doing. Back in that 4th position is Ken Schrader, and that's a change because Wally Dallenbach Jr. was there not too long ago. So there's Schrader in 4th. 5th position belongs to Jeff Bodine, the Budweiser Ford number 11. There's Jeff. So there are your top 5 here with 17 laps completed.
And there comes Dallenbach off turn 7. There's Bobby Hillen in the mellow yellow Pontiac. Right behind him, he is a lap down after he spun out. And here's Alan Kowicki with his hand out the window, slowing down. This is up in turn 6, so he'll be coming into pits in just a moment.
And he was running in 9th position. Alan Kowicki's bad luck continues here at the Budweiser at the Glen. His car is very slow on the racetrack, and he will be entering pit road. up front, meanwhile, there are your first three, and Mark Martin hangs on to third spot. But what is that thing there on the right rear of the race car? Well, let's go to the pits and try to find out.
Let's ask Robin Pemberton here in the pits for Mark Martin. Robin, something hanging down from the rear. What is it?
It's a little aluminum panel. They call it crush panels. It's just to keep dust and dirt out of the trunk area. It doesn't, no structure or anything like that.
Where'd that come from? Did he get tapped or something?
On the green flag lap coming down in here to one. Ernie got a little anxious, I guess, and got into him a little bit. But there's no damage and no hard feelings either.
Now, he slowed down a little bit. He's gotten past. Is there a problem with the car?
No, Mark's being real conservative. He's guarding his brakes right now.
Oh!
It's a pretty long race. This is as hard on brakes as Martinsville.
Terry Labonte is spun, Jerry. He lost the lead to Ernie Irvin and then went down to the corner and spun, huh, Benny?
He just came down the corner and away he went. I don't know exactly. He's going slow. The car is very slow. Is the left rear tire flat?
Yeah, I think it is, Benny. It looks like the left rear tire is flat on the Snow Oldsmobile. What a tough break for Terry Labonte. He's going to have to get back to the pits, and it's a long way around to the pits.
Billy Hagan car very slow on the racetrack. Terry Labonte, the pole sitter. He won the Grand National race here at the Glen not too long ago and came here with great hopes after winning the pole position. Looks like the tire is beginning to shred up on him there on the left rear as he comes toward you, Ned. Very slow on the racetrack. Let's take a look at it once again. Ernie Irvin had just passed him for the lead as they came into turn one there, Benny.
You're going down. It was an uncontested pass. Terry goes in the corner. We can see the car wiggle. He corrected it. He got the car going straight, but he had to make the corner. He goes around. He nails the gasoline, so the car will make a 360, and he can go straight ahead. But we can see that the tire was flat, and there was nothing he could do except spin around. And Mark Martin was fortunate that he was able to get by while Labonte was doing his 360.
Benny, that was one of the worst places on the track that could have happened as far as the distance back to the pits. He's still struggling to get back to the pits. When he went to our position here, the tire had pretty well come off the rim, and there's debris on the racetrack, perhaps part of his tire out there, but it's a long ride back around there, and you can't accelerate with that tire flat the way it is.
There's the leader, Ernie Irvin. He becomes our second leader of the afternoon. Mark Martin remains in second spot. Terry Labonte is coming in. John Kernan is there.
They are changing left side tires only. They do have a left side tire that has gone flat. Terry revving the engine and is having just a little bit of trouble getting Jack under it. They had to lift it up, so that's going to cost them a little bit of time. Yellow flag is waving for debris on the track. They're beating on the rear, telling Terry to get going, and he is gone. And you can really see that tire, that left rear tire, is just shredded. An update quickly on Alan Kowicki. He is still in. He is having ignition problems. They have changed over to ignition box. Paul Andrews and the crew are now changing a coil. That's what they've been working on for the last few minutes, but Alan still sits a couple of pits down from the Labonte pit, and it looks like his day may soon be over.
John Kernan, who I'm interested in is who won the race down pit road. Is Terry Labonte a lap down or is he not? Ernie Irvin is right directly behind him. The pace truck has pulled out, and we'll sort it out. Labonte went by the pace truck, so evidently NASCAR has told him that he was able to get back on the racetrack in front of Ernie Irvin and stay in the lead lap.
And he's going to wind up and be the big benefactor as we look at what happened. The reason for the yellow flag now is you see the tire come off the rim and it landed on the racetrack, so they threw the caution so they could get out there and get it. But everybody else now will be coming into the pits, and that's going to put Terry Labonte right back up at the front.
It sure is, and that wasn't a piece of tire that came off and landed there in the middle of the racetrack. That was the entire tire, as that's what's left of it. Terry Labonte remaining on the lead lap here. We're under our first caution of the afternoon, and we'll be back in just a moment.
Did they go by the pits with the pits open, or the pits just now being opened?
Yes.
Okay. I would think that a good number of them would come in.
I think you're right. They've been
Okay. Only 2 cars remain on the racetrack. Everybody else comes in for a pit stop. Remember, the speed limit is 35 miles an hour on pit road. The pits are very, very narrow here. Ernie Irvin heads for his pit. Mark Martin also comes in. Let's go to Jerry Punch.
Well, the Tony Glover Kodak crew begin to get a chance to work on this car for the first time today, as almost everyone in the pits, as you said, Bob. They will change all 4 tires. Get a chance to look at the wear on these new Goodyear radial tires for the first time. The entire field on pit road, as Ernie Irvin's crew working down the left side, but everyone up and down pit road, as far as you can see, changing 4 tires. Now, Irvin's crew already having to replace the left side or outside tires, now replacing right side tires. Jeff Bodine is away. Ernie Irvin trying to get out and just barely missing. Did a good job to miss the focus team. The 11 is out. Of course, a little bit longer in the pits for Mark Martin because they had to beat on that rear panel a little bit. He got hung up because some extra work being done on that loose sheet metal on the back of the car.
Yeah, Mark Martin got hung up just a little bit as he came out, had to dodge a tire, and then had to stop as somebody else came down. There you can see how they are going to stack up as they come back to the green flag in just a few moments. So our first caution period of the afternoon is upon us here at Watkins Glen. Although there's a minimum weight for Winston Cup cars, they are built to weigh less than the minimum. Dr. Jerry Punch has this week's track fact. Track facts are brought to you by Quaker State. The Big Q is one tough motor oil.
When the Winston Cup crews construct a race car, they like to build it as light as possible and yet maintain the structural integrity of the vehicle. You may ask, well, why? The car has to weigh 3,500 pounds anyway. But if you can build a car at, say, 3,200 pounds, then you have 300 pounds of ballast or added weight that you can put wherever you so desire. That weight ordinarily should go as far to the left of the car and as close to the ground as possible to improve handling of the car. Well, what the crews will do is this left frame rail here is open, so you can slide blocks of lead or tungsten neatly inside the frame rail, cover it up with a small plate here until you get your desired 3,500 pounds.
And that's how the Winston Cup cars are brought up to their minimum weight. Under yellow here at Watkins Glen because of debris on the racetrack. Just about everybody has come in for a pit stop, and now we get set in just a lap or two for a resumption of this event, and it appears as if we will get the green flag this time around. So stay with us. Here we go with more racing as Doyle Ford looks him over coming out of corner number 7 and waves the green flag. We are back to competition. The car at the head of the line is number 13, and that is Oma Kimbrough. Right behind him is Jimmy Spencer.
There is Jimmy Spencer, Oma Kimbrough coming down in the corner. Spencer, there goes Ted Musgrave, and Jeff Bodine is the first of the truly fast cars. He's followed by Ernie Irvin, Kenny Schrader. Bobby Hill on the lap car is in between Schrader and Ernie Irvin.
Ted Musgrave is a leader of the race, Ned, as they come to you. He was on the lead lap, did not make a pit stop, so he's a leader of the race, but I would imagine that he's going to get past as they head toward you.
Yes, he is. Jeff Bodine there now. Looks like he's about to make a pass. I mentioned Terry Labonte, as we see him jockey for positions coming into turn 5, that he would be at the front of the pack. Well, he chose to come back in, I guess, on that caution period, so he went to the back of the pack. Terry again having trouble here in the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile.
The hood is up on the Skull Bandit Oldsmobile, and look at the tight racing as they come down here out of turn number 5 and head for 6. 2 abreast racing. Ken Schrader making a move to the inside, while Jeff Bodine in car number 11 now leads the race, but Ernie Irvin is right behind him and looking for the lead as they head down the straightaway once again.
Here comes the Ford up. There's Jimmy Spencer in the front. And look at Jimmy and Rusty Wallace. Darrell Waltrip, Kenny Schrader. How many? 4 abreast? Man. Let's see if Wallace can funnel it down. He does. Can you believe all those guys made it through the corner? Oh, whoops. I spoke too soon.
Well, they got off into the dirt, Benny, but I believe everybody's okay.
That was Ted Musgrave that they put off in the dirt. Ted is still trying to get his car back up to speed as there's Lake Speed and Dorsey Schroeder going by.
I think Ted Musgrave just looking for a good, comfortable place to slip in there and ride. But the way they're coming by him and jockeying for positions, we'll put the speed gun on Jeff Bodine there just so he can get some pretty good speed there coming into turn 5.
Bodine is the leader of the race now, and Ernie Irvin is running in second position. Dr. Punch, what's the situation with Harry Gant?
Bob, it's not good. They're going to push Gant's Skull Oldsmobile back to the garage area. Apparently a steering problem. I think either possibly the steering box may have locked up on the car. He's having a tough time even turning the car at all. You don't want to have a steering box problem here at Watkins Glen, so he will lose a lot of time and some valuable points. He's currently 9th overall. He's headed back to the garage.
So the winner at Talladega is headed back to the garage area. He was 6th at the Glen here last year, and rather in his best finish was 18th in 1987.
There's a race for third. Wally Dallenbach in the white 90. Rusty Wallace in the black and gold number 2 car. This is a race for third, and Rusty Wallace started 21st in today's event, up to 4th place already.
Well, he was the big benefactor in that pit stop. It looks like, Benny. He came from, as you say, way back in the pack and up here among the lead pack.
So Rusty Wallace, always a contender on road courses, is already in 4th position. Ernie Irvin moves to the outside of Jeff Bodine coming into turn number 5, but makes no bid for the lead. And so Jeff holds on to the advantage as the hometown crowd loves it for their Jeff Bodine, who's leading. Back after this. Wally's doing fine, isn't he?
He really is. Yep. Ernie's going to be doing pretty good when we get down the corner.
Yep. Yeah. Ernie's going to get the lead here.
Jeff had some thoughts about diving back inside of him. Wasn't able to do it, though.
Yep.
I was really surprised that Labonte came back in after catching such a bad break and then getting such a good break. And he would have been okay if he hadn't been for the congestion. He just couldn't get in there.
Yeah, okay, all right.
Lost program. That's all. I lost the monitor. Somebody unplugged the generator, I guess.
Some of those autographs.
I got it back. I got it back.
Live at Watkins Glen, New York, and the Budweiser at the Glen. Ernie Irvin leads on the 27th lap. Mark Martin is second. Rusty Wallace has moved to third, and Wally Dallenbach Jr. is back to 4th. Here's how Ernie got the lead, and it happened right in front of you, Benny.
No problem, Bob. He gets alongside Jeff Bodine, has the preferred line. Jeff Bodine thought about diving back inside Ernie Irvin, but he was not able to do that. Ernie kept on with the lead, and he's keeping on in front of Jeff Bodine. As a matter of fact, looks like he's pulling ahead of him. Now Rusty Wallace.
And here's a spin in turn number 5. Car number 20 spinning around, and he might be able to keep it safe where J.D. McDuffie went in, but he got it stopped before he got there, Bob.
Boy, he sure did. Just barely touched those tires. That's Kim Campbell, who was one of 2 drivers making his very first Winston Cup appearance in the Rob Moroso car, number 20. Kim Campbell, who has gained most of his experience in open wheel cars, is a former Formula Atlantic driver and also participates in the Firestone Firehawk competition. And here's a replay of what happened.
Well, Bob, it looks like the back end broke loose, and he tried to correct it, and just as he started into the turn, and then it spins on around. And fortunately for him, it did spin around several times before it got to the fence, so it used its momentum up before it got to the tire, so he just barely touched it, so he cranked her up and drove away.
Kim Campbell is from Tyler, Texas, and is a commodities broker by trade, but today a full-time race driver. Jerry, incident down in the pits during that series a few minutes ago.
Yes, Bob, a close call down here in the pits. And just a minute ago, we mentioned Mark Martin was in the pits for a long period of time. There's a reason for that. They were trying to fix the rear panel, but unfortunately, his team manager, Steve Meal, was struck in the face by a tire from another car. Meal was knocked off his feet onto the ground, dazed momentarily. He is up and okay. Should have always been a little bit goofy, but he said, I'm going to be fine. He didn't know what happened. He said all it did was scratch his sunglasses and knock him over a little bit. So we were showing, of course, Robin Pemberton on the wall. He is the crew chief, but Steve Meal is the crew member we're talking about who had the injury, and he is apparently, fortunately, okay.
And their driver, Mark Martin, continues to run in 5th position.
Actually, Bob, I think when he came out of the pits, he was about 12th or something, so he has really moved up through the pack.
So, too, of course, has Rusty Wallace, who is now in 3rd place there in the Miller Genuine Draft Pontiac. Wally Donnerbach Jr. doing a great job. There's Mark Martin coming through, Ken Schrader, and way in the back there is Ricky Rudd in the Tide Chevrolet. He's behind Dorsey Schrader and Sterling Marlin.
They're just not able to make many moves to move up much, Bob. There's so much traffic and so many cars running good that we just can't seem to build any momentum.
Well, I mean, look at this line of cars, and they're all very, very good race cars. We see Rudd right in the middle of the picture in the Tide automobile. He is second in the Winston Cup points. Here's a camera buried under the racetrack, but he needs to gain on Earnhardt. But he can't get by these cars to gain on them, much less Dale Earnhardt. There we see, that's Earnhardt in the black car just going out of picture down towards me in turn 1.
And in case, well, here's a pass as Mark Martin will take over 4th position from Wally Donnerbach Jr. in car number 90. So Mark Martin has moved to 4th now. Those are the Roush cars running together on the racetrack.
And you're right, Bob. It says 90 on the side of it, and Jenny Donlevy, Kenny Bell, all that crew is crewing the car. But the car belongs to Roush Racing. The engine comes from Jack Roush, and as a matter of fact, the sponsor says Roush Racing.
Here comes the leader, Ernie Irvin, 2nd place Bodine, and 3rd is Rusty Wallace. He has made the greatest advancement so far. He started in 20th position. He was at 20th on lap 5, moved to 16th. He moved to 4th at the end of 25 laps, and now, as we have completed 30 seconds, finds himself 3rd. Kim Campbell is just ahead of the leader, Ernie Irvin, but again, Campbell spun down in turn number 5 a few minutes ago. We hope you're enjoying today's live coverage of the Budweiser at the Glen. Winston Cup race being led by Ernie Irvin. Back after this.
Got a few raindrops out here.
Oh, Ned.
Sorry.
That's all we need is another delay. Rain.
Ned, from the sound of things, the next time it rains, don't mention it.
ESPN Speed World today at Watkins Glen International in New York for the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race. Stop number 18 on the 1999-91 Winston Cup circuit. The leader is Ernie Irvin. He just passed Kim Campbell, and in 2nd position is Jeff Bodine.
Bodine pulls on the outside of Campbell, and there's Rusty Wallace. You know, he moved up so fast. I wonder if on that pit stop he might have just changed a couple of tires instead of 4 tires. If that's the case, he might be needing some tires before the other cars.
That's a good point, Benny. He seems to be getting through turn 5 okay, but boy, the tires can make a great difference.
Rusty Wallace, a 2-time winner here at Watkins Glen in 1987 and in 1989. Back and forth is Mark Martin. 5th position. Now the battle is between Wally Dallenbach Jr. and Ken Schrader in car number 25.
Kenny Schrader also crashed up in turn 5 during practice this week. We can see how smooth the left side of the car is, how pretty it looks. The right side, as Richard Broom, the crew chief, said, looks like a bag of walnuts. Now he's on the inside of Dallenbach. They're heading towards me. He's going to try to outbrake the Ford. Oh boy, that was close.
You had to believe that Kenny knew that Wally Dallenbach Jr. was in that 90 car, and as we have mentioned, Wally doesn't have all that much experience on the Winston Cup circuit, but both drivers handled that situation very well.
Morgan Shepherd has just stopped going in turn 1 in the Motorcraft Ford. The car is sitting on the racetrack. There we see Morgan sitting still.
He was running in 16th position, but that Motorcraft Ford has come to a halt at the end of pit road.
Apparently it's going to be a caution, Bob.
Yep, you're right, Ned. It just came out. Doyle Ford. Yellow is out for the 2nd time today. Ken Schrader has gotten around Wally Dallenbach Jr. for that 5th position as both of these cars head toward the caution flag. Entering turn number 7, they see it now, and here's how the pass occurred. It occurred in turn number 1, or was that turn number 5? Anyway, Ken Schrader, turn number 5, Ken Schrader got the position. Morgan Shepherd's moving again, Benny.
I think the car is just letting the car roll down to a push truck or something. I don't think the car is running. He's just letting it roll downhill.
Yeah, it is all downhill there from turn 1 to turn 2, so perhaps that's what Morgan Shepherd is doing. 34 out of 90 laps completed. That was officially, okay.
Bob, I'm sorry I left you hanging there. I had no idea that was in turn 5.
That's
I
okay.
didn't see it.
Second since the restart. We want to forget about the first 2 hours of this one.
Bob, just so you know, just for the fans on here again,
Yep.
He had a power steering hydraulic valve lock up. That's why the power steering wouldn't turn. They're going to fix it and get him back out.
Okay.
And Rusty did take on 4, but he's coming back in.
He did take on 4, Jerry?
Yes, he did.
Wow, what a pit stop.
I just talked to Eddie Dickerson, and I'm in his pit right now.
Yeah, he coasted down there and got out of the way and stopped.
The pace truck has the field under tow. Ernie Irvin is the leader of this race, and Jeff Bodine is running in 2nd position as we are under caution. Now, tonight at 8 o'clock here on ESPN, it's Rhino against Hojo. The Mets and the Cubs live at 8 o'clock tonight, Sunday night baseball here on ESPN. Well, will we see some pit stops? Yes, we will. Irvin comes in.
But Schrader, is that Schrader that stayed on the racetrack?
Schrader and Earnhardt stayed out. Yeah.
He might be the only car that stays out. Every other car is following the leader, Ernie Irvin.
Schrader and Earnhardt stay out, so does Chad Liffle. But everybody else comes in for a pit stop.
Well, Schrader hasn't led this race, and those 5 bonus points could mean a great deal to him, and Earnhardt figures he probably could pass Schrader and maybe pick himself up 5 bonus points. Let's go to the pits.
Rusty Wallace crew now going to work once again. They had already changed more tires last time, but they will come back in. Guys, it's primarily a gas mileage game here. Remember, Kenny Schrader gets wonderful gas mileage. He's the guy that was able to really put it to him at Pocono with the gas mileage. He's not been involved in an accident. Meanwhile, the Miller crew finishing their service, 4 tires, and almost everyone else in. Richard Broom up in the Kenny Schrader pit, standing by with our John Kernan. John?
Richard's climbing down from the toolbox. He opted not to come in that time. Is it because you get such good fuel mileage?
Well, we're getting good fuel mileage, but pardon me a minute.
Well, Kenny, obviously talking to him on the radio. Now, we had heard or were talking with Richard earlier that the plan was for Kenny to pit if the leader pitted, but Richard said they really did not want to pit at this time. As Jerry mentioned, they do get excellent fuel mileage, and Richard is busy talking with Kenny Schrader, his driver, and we'll throw it back up to you, Bob.
Well, track position is very critical in this race, no question about it. In 5 previous races, we've averaged 17 cars on the lead lap at the finish, so you do have to fight for every inch of track position, and that's perhaps in the mind of Ken Schrader and Richard Broom and the others. Back in a moment. Good stuff, Kenny. Thank you.
Mark Martin is having all kinds of problems, guys. He was what, 4th on when the cautions came out, and he must be about 15th now.
Okay. The green is coming out, by the way.
He's 19th.
19th.
4th to 19th. Huh? Just about to get the green flag to restart the Budweiser at the Glen after a caution because of car on the racetrack and debris on the track. And here comes the field off of corner number 7. They get the green flag. Dale Earnhardt drops to the inside of Ken Schrader, and look at Ricky Rudd way down on the low side of the track as they head for turn 1.
He's on the inside trying to get a position on Brett Bodine. Can't make it. Meanwhile, Brett Bodine and Chad Little go through the corner side by side, puts Little over on the bricks, and Dale Earnhardt has taken the lead away from Kenny Schrader. Rudd was trying desperately to get by the Brett Bodine car, couldn't make it.
Well, Benny, we projected that Dale Earnhardt stayed out there for that reason, figuring he might be able to move around Kenny Schrader and pick up 5 Winston Cup bonus points. And, of course, if he gets back to the start-finish line in front, he'll be able to do that. He comes into turn 5 in front. Ricky Rudd does move into 4th place. Davey Allison down on the inside of Chad Little.
Once again, we're seeing the telemetry from Dale Jarrett's car as he moves through turn number 5 in 3rd gear, feathers the throttle down to 89 miles an hour at 4,500 RPM. And now here is our General Motors telemetry inside Dorsey Schrader's car. The same kind of information. You see what gear he's in there on the right. Upper right is the RPM, miles per hour on the upper left. Now let's go back to Dale Jarrett's telemetry.
He's in 2nd gear going into turn 7 there.
Oh, it's Brett Bodine. Gets in the corner a little bit too hard, and around he goes, but he's over in the grass, out of harm's way. Meanwhile, the engine is stalled as he spun the car. So far, so good. All the cars have gotten by. Now, Brett has fired the thing back up. A little bit hot. He tries to get the car back going a little bit too quickly. Spins around, but he's now back on the racetrack.
And that's the bad way to lose track position, because he was running in 4th spot when he got a little too hot in turn number 1, spun the car around, and now has to chase the entire field.
Here's a battle for the lead going off of turn 5 as Kenny Schrader almost made the pass. In fact, he did on Dale Earnhardt as he went around that turn.
And there is a replay of Brett Bodine's spin down there in turn number 1 just a few minutes ago. And so we wait for the cars. There's a different angle. Bodine out into the grass, but the car ended up well off the racetrack, and Brett was able to get it started again.
But as you said, lost lots of track position. Here they come again, and Kenny Schrader has the lead. Earnhardt back to second. Ricky Rudd right on his bumper, and there's Davey Allison. That's the top 4 cars going through turn 1.
And look who's up into third place, Ricky Rudd. And Terry Labonte is also back in the thick of things, as he is the 6th car in line here.
Right behind, right in front of Ernie Irvin, who's been so quick. And Terry Labonte spun earlier down in turn 1, cut a tire down, but now he has stopped. He's changed 4 tires, now he's changed 2 tires. He's back in sequence with the guys, and here comes Rudd. He takes a look on the inside right in front of you, Ned.
He's really working on Earnhardt. I expect he'll get him in another lap or so, because he is really getting through these turns.
Earnhardt second, Ricky Rudd right on his back bumper in third position. He looks for the inside line going into turn 6, but falls back behind Earnhardt. Davey Allison coming in fourth, right behind as they go over our camera that's implanted just off the racetrack in the rumble strips. And the field now comes off of turn number 7, and Rudd does move alongside Dale Earnhardt, looking for second position. I think he's going to get it before they get to turn 1, Benny.
And how about Davey Allison? He is also going to follow Rudd through, and Earnhardt falls in behind Davey Allison. So Earnhardt lost 2 spots down that front straightaway. John Curtin has a comment on Ricky Rudd.
Well, guys, maybe he gave a little bit of the intimidation business to the intimidator. Ricky, who crashed his car the first day of practice, had to borrow the nose of Dale Earnhardt. They didn't have a chance to repaint it. And Ricky jokingly said that, hey, who knows, maybe I'll get out there on the track, some guy will look in his rearview mirror and see that big black front end there and think it's Dale Earnhardt, move over and let me get around him.
It was the wrong guy, though. It was Dale Earnhardt. He was trying to intimidate.
So Ricky Rudd becomes a factor in another Winston Cup road race, as he has been for the last 5 years. He and Rusty Wallace, it seems, have traded wins on road courses in Winston Cup competition. This is the GM telemetry again in Dorsey Schrader's Team 3 Pontiac.
72 miles an hour coming down from the start-finish line. Here's Dale Jarrett coming down towards the start-finish line. He's down to 80, 76 was the slowest that he went through that corner. He's right in behind Bobby Hamilton in the Country Time Oldsmobile as they come down the pit straight and heading towards me. Hamilton stops, and we see the brake light, the green light on the dash of the car says that Dale Jarrett is hard on the brakes. Off the corner, second gear, shifts up to third. There's a little bit of a delay. And here's the leader. Here's Ricky Rudd trying to get, and here, oh, Davey Allison, Ned, they've got some action coming towards you.
Yeah, and they're running over 171 miles an hour, Benny, as they start braking for this turn, and Davey Allison does make the pass on Ricky Rudd. Allison very fast after having his problems earlier, but boy, he does have some speed down the straightaway. And Jeff Bodine spins here in turn 5. Dale Earnhardt spins also. A lot of cars coming down with Earnhardt down on the inside. Most of them will get by, but Bodine has left. Earnhardt still trying to get his car going, and now he finally does, but he will lose a lot of position, both he and Jeff Bodine.
So Dale Earnhardt, who came into this race with the best finishing average in all the races we've completed here at Watkins Glen, suffers a spin and a serious setback in his bid to win this race. Davey Allison is going to take the lead.
He comes inside Kenny Schrader and takes that spot. Rudd is trying to get alongside his teammate, his Hendrick teammate, for that second spot. He has position, and Ernie Irvin follows him through. Remember, Schrader did not stop and get tires a moment ago. These 3 cars in front did stop for tires.
Well, is anybody but me thinking about Sears Point and the terrific battle in the closing laps that we saw between the guys that are running first and second right now, Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd, and what happened on the last lap of that race?
Well, that's the way it was. Let's see how fast Davey Allison, well, of course, he's already slowing down, and Wally Dallenbach having a problem in the Rouse Racing Ford number 90.
He has no brakes.
Yeah,
the car will not stop. He went right by his crew as they scramble trying to stop the car, but he finally does get it stopped. Now they're pushing it back towards his pit.
Well, this is what happened to Wally. Obviously, the brakes failing, and he went off course. And let's see if he hits anything. There's enough runoff area there, which I believe is at turn number 6, that he was able to avoid hitting anything. Then came into the pits and obviously without brakes went by his assigned pit slot. Boy, we've got action all over this place. Davey Allison now leads the Budweiser at the Glen, followed closely by Irvin, Rudd, and Kenny Schrader. Back in just a moment at the Glen. Yeah.
I'm telling you, that Dorsey Schrader like knocked me off.
Oh, yeah, he spun with Bodine. Come on, Neil. Ned talked about it.
I described it.
That was from Dorsey, wasn't it?
They warned me when you're going up to go with that cage, Kenny. He like knocked me off my chair a while ago and he ran across it.
What was that, Benny? We are very close to the halfway point. Call now to enter the ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes. 1-900-933-9300. If your entry is selected, you have been selected as a winner. You will win your choice of Chevy Luminas. Stay tuned to see which car is the first Chevy to finish this race. And the deadline for dialing that number is coming up in less than 2 laps. 45, the halfway point, and we are on lap number 44 at the moment. 43 have been completed, and Ernie Irvin is making a bid for the lead.
And he takes it in turn 5, moving on the inside of Davey Allison. Ricky Rudd continues to run 3rd, and Kenny Schrader 4th. Good battle up there between the Fords and the Chevrolets.
Well, just before we went to break, we had an incident that you so accurately described, Ned. And here it is from Dorsey Schrader's in-car camera. Jeff Bodine and Dale Earnhardt spinning there in turn number 5. And Dorsey had to get onto the grass across those rumble strips to avoid hitting Dale.
He made a great move down on the inside.
So Ernie Irvin now has the lead, and Dorsey Schrader is running by himself on the racetrack, giving rise to possible speculation that he damaged the car in some way when he did go off the track there.
Well, he could have, Bob. I don't know if he would have heard anything. You see. Okay, go ahead, Benny.
He's coming down towards me, Ned. I don't see any tire smoking or anything. Oh, there's a
Kim Campbell
off course again, and I saw another car smoking as they went by. Meanwhile, Campbell gets his car back on course, and Harry Gant, you saw go by. They've repaired that car. He's back on the racetrack.
He had a problem with the power steering, and now is back in the race. Oil brake fluid. There is Kim Campbell's spin. Now this is the second time that he has gone off course in that number 20 car, but he also avoids any contact with the wall.
There was what car was that smoking? Was that Gollenbach smoking?
That was 55, Benny Musgrave. Good battle for second here. Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd. Again, reminiscent of Sonoma, California and Sears Point International Raceway. And we're at the halfway point. Here comes the crossed flags. Ernie Irvin crosses underneath Doyle Ford's crossed flags, indicating that we are 45 laps halfway into this one.
There's Rusty Wallace back trying to get alongside Schrader. He does get alongside and takes that spot away. And Mark Martin in the Folgers Ford pulls up behind that Chevrolet. And Kim Campbell is off the course again. This is up, where's this, Ned, up in front of you?
Yeah, it's turn 5 in. His left front tire is flat on the car this time around, so he really didn't quite make the turn on the pavement, but once he got it on the grass, he got it slowed down, so he'll be heading on back around again. In the meantime, the leaders are headed our way. And Mark Martin there about to try to make a pass on Kenny Schrader coming into turn 5. Let's see if he can make it. He does, indeed. Mark Martin takes over the 5th position.
That would be for 5th position, right, Ned? Well, the Big A on-track interval indicate that we timed Schrader and Irvin on 5 consecutive laps, 37 through 41. And you can see how the interval closed up from 3.5 seconds on the right to less than 1 second at the bottom there.
Look how fast that Ernie Irvan was on lap 41, 73.6. That was almost 1 second faster than any other lap. So once he got in the clear, look how fast that car really is.
Quickly let him pick up about 2 seconds on the leader, didn't he?
He does have the lead. There's second place, Allison and Rudd. Ernie Irvan begins to move away from everybody a little bit. Up through the S's, turns 3 and 4, and then on to the long backstretch. Rudd setting his sights on second place, Davey Allison. Rusty Wallace is not too far behind Ricky, and then comes Mark Martin. John Kernan has a comment on Davey Allison.
Well, Bob, on the last pit stop, lap 35, Davey came in and for track position's sake took on gas only. They had changed 4 tires on lap 22. That means that these other cars that he has been passed by and are chasing him have much fresher tires than Davey does right now, so they could be going just a little away and getting just a little bit slippery on him.
Well, Ernie has opened up about a 2.3 second interval on Davey Allison and Ricky Rudd, as Ernie has clear sailing ahead of him.
Bob, I think that the cars that really and truly that I see right now are the fastest cars on the racetrack is the 4 Ernie Irvan, the 2 Rusty Wallace, the 5 Ricky Rudd, and also the 6 car of Mark Martin. I think that Folgers Ford is running awfully well. If those cars ever get together, we're going to see one heck of a race.
Well, Mark Martin indicated before the event that he thought there was 3 very good reasons why he could win this race. First of all, he tested here last month. Secondly, he's tested the radials here at this track. And thirdly, the team is pumped up. Terry Labonte is off of the pace, and we can see some smoke coming from the right side of that race car. This was your pole sitter who could have won $91,200 in Unocal bonus money, in addition to the amount he would have won for winning the event. And if Terry Labonte could have won this race today, it was probably going to be the largest purse in road course history, breaking the mark of $145,000 set back a few years ago at Del Mar, California. So Terry Labonte slow in the number 94, and the leader has spun. Ernie Irvan is off course. He's going to be able to get back on track rather easily, but he lost the lead and lost several positions as a matter of fact.
That's up in turn 6. There's turn 7 coming down the front straightaway. That was a left-hander. Here we come. Ernie Irvan all by himself comes in the corner, and look at the brakes lock up. He gets the left front sliding and slides across, spins around, doesn't hit a thing. He finally gets the car going in the right direction. He's back on the racetrack, and Ricky Rudd has taken the lead. Now, if he can get back to the start-finish line, he will get 5 bonus points.
Well, we talked about Ernie Irvan just a minute ago having clear sailing ahead of him. He didn't have any lap traffic to concern himself with, but he did spin and lose the lead. And now we see Ricky Rudd and Davey Allison side by side again.
But Rudd beats him into turn 5 and holds on to the lead. Davey Allison second, then there's Rusty Wallace very close to him on third.
We've got a great Winston Cup race in progress here at Watkins Glen International, the Budweiser at the Glen, and we'll have more of our live coverage right after this. Somebody spun up there and won, right, Benny?
Schrader, Kenny Schrader.
Just saw it at the top of the screen.
'66 car smoking a little bit.
Everyone spins. It's a spin-all. Bob Jenkins, Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch back at Watkins Glen International in the Budweiser at the Glen. The first 4 cars are running nose to tail on the racetrack, and there they are. The leader is Ricky Rudd. Davey Allison is second. Rusty Wallace is third, and Mark Martin is in 4th position.
Man, is this a fantastic race or what? These 4 cars are locked up nose to tail, and we can see that they're driving as hard as they can, because when they come off the corner, they keep kicking those tails out. Here comes Rudd. He's coming straight at me. Here comes Rusty Wallace trying to take that second spot. He's on the inside of Davey. He takes the spot.
Nice move. Outbraked Davey Allison. Rusty Wallace has moved to second, and so the cream has risen to the top as Ernie Irvin is still out there. He's running in 5th position. The 2 guys who have dominated road course racing in Winston Cup for the past 5 years are running 1st and 2nd, Rudd and Wallace. Here's Jerry Punch.
Apparently a minute ago, Ernie Irvin radioed into his crew that he had missed 2nd gear and couldn't get the car going into 2nd gear, and just one missed shift will cause you the kind of problem you just saw Ernie Irvin have a minute ago up in turn 6.
Irvin well back in 5th position, trailing the first 4 cars by quite a bit of distance. In fact, he has Jimmy Spencer between himself and the front 4 cars. Let's go to John Kernan, who's with Terry Labonte.
Well, it's been a tough day for Terry all the way around. He had that left rear tire go flat. Did you run over something there, and then now the motor's gone?
Yeah, the car was running real good. We cut a left rear tire, and I thought something was wrong with it the corner before, and so I backed off a little bit early, getting in that corner, and it spun out. The tire, went flat, but I thought we were still in pretty good shape. I was having a little bit of a tough time there with the brakes. Every time I try to pass some cars, I'd kind of get my brakes too hot, but I finally even broke a valve or something, I guess. It's too bad. The car was working good.
Terry had a lot of high hopes. He won the Busch Grand National race here at Watkins Glen back in June, but his day is over.
Terry Labonte, sitting in the garage area, will watch the rest of this race from there. Rusty Wallace is all over Ricky Rudd for the lead.
And as they come into turn 5, he is not going to be able to make a pass here, Bob. He'll have to gear himself up somewhere else, because Ricky Rudd holds that inside line going off to turn 5. Look at Rusty all the way out on the dirt.
Before the radial tires, that could have been disaster, because the bias plies, it was easy to get out of the stones and get a flat tire. But the radials are so hard to puncture that Rusty Wallace could probably get off the course and not have a flat tire. A few years ago, or last year even, that would have been disaster.
And a couple of laps ago, for you Ken Schrader fans, he was running up in 5th position, but now is back in 16th. And Benny, that was because of an incident right in front of you.
He came down in turn 1 and looped it around. He got the car going back again. He's back on the racetrack up to speed. Remember, he did not stop for tires when those other fellas did, and he's out there with tires with a few more laps.
Well, we have reached the halfway point of this race. In fact, we are a little bit beyond that. All phone-in entries for this week's ESPN Pick the Winning Chevy Sweepstakes are now closed. The winner of the sweepstakes will be announced on our next Chevy Sweepstakes race. Call 1-900-933-9300 in 10 minutes to enter the next ESPN Chevy Sweepstakes.
Those 4 cars still nose to tail. Rudd holds off the car of Rusty Wallace as they come up on the car number 20 now again. Not much place to pass here, though, Bob.
No, there isn't, and they will probably be able to here as they come off corner number 7 and down the straightaway. Davey and Ricky and the rest will go to the inside and pass Kim Campbell in the 20 car. The average speed of the race, right around 117 miles an hour. That's the pace that Rudd is setting at this time. So Rudd is your leader. Rusty Wallace running second. Davey Allison is third, and Mark Martin is fourth at the NASCAR Budweiser at the Glen. Well, they got them spread out there. a 54. Durhog. Thank you.
Is
You're
that
right.
Chad Little coming in there, Bob?
Durhog. Oh. So, yeah. Okay. Around the world, all year long, with over 1 million miles of auto racing coverage, ESPN's Speed World today is at Watkins Glen International in the state of New York for the Budweiser at the Glen, the second and final road course race of 1991 for the Winston Cup Series. And at the moment, Ricky Rudd has the lead over Davey Allison, or over Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Mark Martin.
Rusty Wallace just a couple of laps ago right on the back bumper of Rudd. Now Rudd has about a 5-6 car length advantage. And the 28 car of Davey Allison is closed up on the back of the 2 car.
Let's check our Western Auto race recap here as we have reached a few laps beyond the halfway mark of this event, 90 laps. The leader, Ricky Rudd, has led 4 of the 52 laps. We've had 3 caution periods for 7 laps. 25 cars remain on the lead lap, and there have been 8 leaders and 11 lead changes. Those that have picked up 5 bonus points for leading a lap include Labonte, Irvin Schrader, Jeff Bodine, Davey, Dale Earnhardt, Ted Musgrave, and Ricky Rudd. The cars that have dropped out of the race, of course, J.D. McDuffie, Jimmy Means, Dave Marcus, Morgan Shepherd, and Rick Mast. Our Mechanic of the Year standings show us that Larry McReynolds is in the battle, sponsored by Western Auto, with only a 1-point advantage on Kirk Shelverdine, Tony Glover 3rd, Danny Glad 4th, and Robin Pemberton is 5th in the Western Auto Mechanic of the Year standings. For those of you who are just joining us, the sad news is that J.D. McDuffie suffered fatal injuries in a crash on lap number 6 here at the Glen earlier today. Well, action on pit road right now. That's Rick Wilson in car number 8. And Lake Speed in car number 66, as they're getting their tires changed.
Lake Speed's car is going behind the wall because the car has been smoking for the last few laps. Either they've run out of wall, finally blew an engine up, or run out of oil, I should say. They've blown an engine, or NASCAR has asked them to go in and try to fix the oil leak, because I've noticed for 5 or 6 laps that Phillips 66 car was smoking badly.
Well, that's too bad because he was running in 12th position. Ken Schrader is coming in. John Kernan.
Well, Bob, if the race stays green, Ken Schrader with a quick pit stop could put himself in a great position to win the race. Their last pit stop came on lap 22. They did not pit on lap 35 with everyone else, so that gives them 34 laps. We're on lap 56 now, 34 and 56, that's 90. He does not have to pit anymore. Down pit road, as work continues here, is Jerry Punch in Earnhardt's pit.
Yeah, Earnhardt has brought the Goodrich Chevrolet to a halt so far into pit road. He will get service. Remember, he was involved in that shunt over at turn 5 as the car number 25, Ken Schrader, comes down pit road. Remember, 35 miles an hour is all they're allowed. Now, Schrader goes by. They have completed service on the left side of the Earnhardt car, and they will work on the right side. Meanwhile, we are starting to get some heavy raindrops here on pit road. As service completed now on Earnhardt's car, he has complained that the toe-in has been in the front of the car from that shunt over in turn 5, but he is away back on the track.
Yeah, Jerry, he's been struggling with that car through turn 5 here. He was losing a lot of ground to the front runners. Maybe this tire change will help him some. Here's the leader, Ricky Rudd.
And he was in 18th position, Dale Earnhardt was, when he came in for that pit stop. The lead continues to be held by Ricky Rudd, as he has now a little bit of racetrack between himself and second place Rusty Wallace. And the rain indeed is coming down here on the main straightaway. How about where you are, Benny?
It's raining down here as well, Bob. Turn 1. I don't think that the racing surface is still slick enough to concern things, but the caution flag is coming out. Caution flag is coming out, so we're going to at least see a slowdown. And what a good break for Ricky Rudd and those other fellas, because they'll now be able to go in and change tires. But Kenny Schrader will stay on the racetrack and has the least problem.
Yeah, but Dale Earnhardt lost a lap, Benny, in that pit stop that he made, so that's really going to hurt him.
We have seen these isolated showers pop up all during the weekend here. I don't think this is going to be a situation that will disrupt things for very long. We had a shower pass
over us during the Trans Am race, or just before the Trans Am race yesterday, that only lasted a few minutes. And I hope that that's the way this one is going to be. The field does receive the yellow flag, and the pace is reduced because of rain here on the front stretch. Ricky Rudd, Rusty Wallace, Davey Allison, and Mark Martin are your first four. In fifth position is Ernie Irvin. Sixth position would be the 24 car of Dorsey Schrader. Jeff Bodine is seventh. In eighth position is Hut Strickland. Ninth is Darrell Waltrip. And 10th is car number 21, Dale Jarrett. Well, while the rain continues here at the Glen and we slow things down, Jerry Punch has caught up with some new friends down on pit road.
The NASCAR family continues to grow, and the newest additions are these 5 furry little critters. They're the new NASCARs, the NASCAR mascots. Like any professional organization, the San Diego Chicken or maybe the Charlotte Hornets with Hugo the Hornet, you have to have a mascot. And these 5 furry friends each have their own message. Let me introduce them quickly to you. To my immediate right here is Finish Line, who stands for anti-drugs, say no to drugs. Beside Finish Line is Rocky, who says safety must come first, both on and off the track. Then Foxy, easy to pick out, standing for physical fitness, stay in shape. Backstretch there, next to the end, stands for do not litter, and Duster at the very end stands for stay in school. So be sure to look for these NASCAR's official mascots at the next Winston Cup race nearest you. Bob?
Nice messages sent by NASCAR, and there's the inflatable NASCAR, which is hovering over Watkins Glen. That's old Rocky as he keeps an eye on things, and the field under caution because of a shower moving over the front stretch. We're at Watkins Glen for the Budweiser at the Glen, and we'll be right back.
I believe it quit raining.
Yeah, I think it did too.
Boo-boo.
Sun was shining on them, but right, over Victory Lane, right.
Up, only one direction.
Yeah, just keep clicking it up. You'll see it in the display.
The pits have become busy once again as the yellow is out and the front runners are making pit stops. Here comes Ricky Rudd and Davey Allison out of the pits. Rusty Wallace also comes out. They wouldn't have pitted, of course, if they were worried about this race being stopped because of the rain. I don't think it's raining at all now here on the front straightaway where it was just a few minutes ago. Just a very quick passing shower that was enough to bring out the caution flag. Well, while we have the opportunity, why don't we lay back and kick up our heels and maybe get something to eat, huh? As everybody here at the Glen is very well aware of Benny's love for food. So here's this week's edition of Buffet Benny.
Hey, food! Can I have lunch, guys?
I don't know. What do you want?
Anything. What do you got? Where's your father? Where's somebody?
Hey, there, where?
Jeffrey!
You might know Buffet Benny would show up.
Oh,
Get the food out.
What we got, buddy?
Hey, we got the steak over here. We got potato down, macaroni salad, and a little ham salad. Would you like this?
I thought you never asked.
What
Am I seated?
Where's Catherine? She's inside whipping up some dessert later on.
Oh, good.
What do we got here? That's beef. Okay. Here's a roll for you. I like the potato salad. They know how to make it up here.
They know how to make it up here, yeah. We know how to make it.
I like macaroni salad.
You guys want some beef? No, you don't get any.
Thank you. Wouldn't let me eat. Here's a roll for it. You want a roll? Yeah, of course. You want a sandwich, Jeff?
Okay, guys, every good meal's got to have dessert.
Oh, yeah.
I just baked them. Now take this one.
Anything is sweet, you? Heck of a lot of other food. Thank you, Kathy, very much.
You're welcome.
Wait a minute. Those cookies were for everybody, and Benny ate them all. Well, there's the sign here at the Glen. Buffet Benny's 18th stop on the Winston Cup Tour this year, the Glen. And spelled out on there on the right is ESPN. Very clever sign. So that's the story of Benny's Buffet for the Watkins Glen. We're under caution because of rain on the main straightaway, but we'll have more racing after this. Those looked awful good.
They were good, as a matter of fact. That's what Jeffrey said. Hey, those are for everybody else. Oh, excuse me.
I saw that earlier. I saw that. Really, yeah. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
Do we want to show that?
Yes.
The leader's leading.
Yeah, the leader is leading. Yeah.
He's out front, too, except for Earnhardt.
That's right. Awful messy here.
Guy forget.
55 car smoking pretty heavy back there.
Back at Watkins Glen, New York, just about ready to go green. We'd like to remind you, for those of you who tuned in to watch tennis, stay with us because we will bring you the tennis highlights immediately following our race here. And of course, the Trans Am race was aired during our 2-hour red flag period that we had here at the Glen. The green comes out, and Dorsey Schrader in car number 24. Oh, and Jeff Bodine is into the wall in turn 7.
And all kinds of scramble behind him. Cars trying to put it so far so good. But meanwhile, Jeff Bodine's car is still sitting there. They're going to be racing back to the caution flag if there is such a thing as a caution flag. If they should, Earnhardt will be able to get that lap back.
Dale Earnhardt leaves as they come around, and he will try to get that lap back. Meanwhile, Jeff Bodine has pulled off the racetrack into the pit area. In the front end of that car, you can see there is extensively damaged as he did make contact with the outside wall in turn number 7, but the car is running. Now here comes the field in turn 5.
There's Ernie Irvin back there coming towards you, Ned.
Yes, he is trying to make up positions. Earnhardt has a pretty good lead there, but there's no caution. It's not going to be too much help to him.
There will be no caution apparently, so there is not a race to the caution flag. The car is safely off the race course, and so Dale Earnhardt remains at the tail end of the lead lap.
You see Mark Martin past Rusty Wallace coming off of turn 5 up there. A good heady move by Mark Martin to take that spot away.
We talked to Dorsey Schrader during our red flag delay, and he told us, wait for the second half of the race, and that's when I'm going to start racing. And now we see Ken Schrader trying to pass him going into 1.
Schrader outbreaks Schrader. Schrader outbreaks Schrader. Dorsey Schrader outbreaks Ken Schrader, and they go through turn 1. Dorsey still has the lead.
You're right, we are dealing with 2 Schraders here. They don't spell the names the same way, but they are Schraders. Now, what's the top of your screen? Bodine was running by himself, didn't get tapped or anything, just got loose there in turn 11 and spun head-on into the wall. Now we go back to the live action and see all of the passing that is being made here at the end of the backstretch.
And it looks like Kenny Schrader will take the lead. He does indeed, coming into turn 5. There are 6 cars running nose to tail coming into this turn.
And now make that 7 as Rusty Wallace joins the group. So that's Ken Schrader, Dorsey Schrader, then Allison, Rudd, and Irvin. And we're inside Dorsey Schrader's car now, showing you the GM telemetry.
That's turn 7 that he's approaching.
And here is the telemetry in Dale Jarrett's Ford.
That's also turn 7, coming down to the start-finish line.
Jarrett is running in 10th position. There are 19 cars on the lead lap. And now Dorsey Schrader and Ricky Rudd are side by side as they move through the first turn and head for 2. And Rudd picks up the spot on Dorsey.
They did come to this corner side by side. Now Ernie Irvin would like to get by Dorsey and had thoughts of doing that, but he was not able to. Schrader pulls back in front, and here comes Martin Martin trying to get by both of them. And Rusty Wallace, as you mentioned.
Battle for 4th. Irvin to the inside of Dorsey Schrader.
And he makes the pass coming in. Mark Martin comes along with him, Bob, as they come into this turn. There's Rusty Wallace. He's going to try to fill that hole as well.
Rusty Wallace are side by side, and Rusty picks up a spot.
Fellas, you wonder if Dorsey took on all 4 tires when they made that last pit stop. Because he was sitting there running pretty comfortably in 7th position before the caution came out, but boy, they've run by him pretty quickly here.
Yeah, we believe that he still must make a pit stop. Here's a battle for 3rd spot. Irvin to the inside of Ricky Rudd.
Ernie to the inside, and Martin tries to follow, but he's not able to get down as Rudd comes down hurriedly and closes that position up.
64 laps out of 90 have been completed in the Budweiser at the Glen. Ken Schrader leads over Davey Allison and Irvin. And now Mark Martin will look for 4th position. Dale Earnhardt is leading this group of cars, but he is on the lead of the tail end of the lead lap.
And he's certainly holding his own, or maybe pulling away a little bit, Bob, from those drivers as they jockey for position there. Earnhardt had just made a pit stop before the caution came out. He was there with 4 fresh tires, so he didn't need to come in during the caution. He's just hoping for one now.
And we get confirmation now that Dorsey Schrader did not make a pit stop, and so he will have to make one here in the next couple of laps.
Mark Martin is all over the back bumper of Ricky Rudd. The Rudd realizes that there's only 25 laps to go because he does not want Martin to get in front of him now. It could mean doomsday later on. Davey Allison took a look on the inside of Kenny Schrader. Was not able to outbrake him going down in turn 1, and Ernie Irvin has pulled up on the back bumper of both those cars.
Boy, these guys are just like they're chained together. The first 3, Kenny Schrader, Allison, and Irvin. And then back in the second group of cars, we have Rudd, Martin, and Wallace. And now Martin looks to the inside of Ricky coming out of the 4th turn down the backstretch. And Ernie Irvin, Ned.
Yeah, he's on the inside of Davey Allison. He does make the pass. Martin makes the pass on Ricky Rudd, so a lot of passing coming into turn 5 here. Meanwhile, Dorsey Schrader continues to go back in the pack.
And Jeff Bodine is back out on the racetrack after an encounter with the wall in turn number 7 and damaging the front end of that car, but Jeff is back on the racetrack.
Here's Ernie. He closes right up on the back bumper of Schrader. That's Kenny Schrader in the Kodiak Chevrolet. Not to be confused with Dorsey Schrader. And here's Ernie trying to outbrake Kenny Schrader. Can't do it. He will fall him down in turn 1 right on his bumper.
Ernie Irvin looking for his second victory in 1991. Of course, he began this season with a win at Daytona, and Dorsey Schrader is in the pits. Coming down for a stop. His pit is located down toward turn number 1. And the crew cam being worn by Clay Robertetti. Go ahead, Jerry.
The scheduled pit stop, he last pitted on lap 35, so as you watch on the crew cam and get some up close and personal, seeing the lug nuts being taken off. And the crewmen coming across the wall, taking a tire. They dance around behind the wall. Now Barry Dotson and the crew come to the right side of the car. They developed a vibration in the car, so Schrader was going to stay out during the rain and roll the dice, and maybe if it was rain, they had a chance to win it. But we got a lead change up front, Bob.
And it's Ernie Irvin taking over the top spot from Schrader momentarily, but he got a little bit sideways as he completed the pass, and Schrader got him right back.
That looked like a old dirt track tactic. Let him go by and get out of shape and duck back under. Schrader did that and still has the lead.
Boy, Dale Earnhardt looking at that in his rearview mirror was tickled to death to see it because they were beginning to gain on him a little bit, and he sees that, so they can't pick up too much. Now Mark Martin makes the move on Davey Allison there.
He came down in turn 1, was able to outbreak the Haviland Star, 4th, and he goes into 3rd spot. And looks, he has his eye on those 2 Chevrolets in front, the 25 and the 40.
Remember the theme of our open traffic jam?
Yeah.
Boy, we've got it, don't we? 6 cars are running nose to tail out there for the lead. Now remember, Dale Earnhardt is at the tail of the lead lap. He is not the leader. Ken Schrader is.
Here comes through turn 5 in single.
Whoa! Schrader's off the pace. Schrader is off the pace. The car just seemed to quit on him as he came through the corner. He tries to get out of everyone's way and now drops to the inside of the track while everybody passes by.
And here's trouble coming into turn 5 again. It's the car number 20. It's hard this time.
Kim Campbell with an encounter with the wall in turn 5. He backed in. Now he has been off course numerous times this afternoon, one of those making his very first Winston Cup event. Well, Ken Schrader came into turn number 5, began to downshift Ned, and then the car just suddenly seemed to quit.
Yeah, it looks like there might have been a puff of smoke come from that car. And look at him wiggle the car coming into the turns, and it looked like it did just quit as he came into turn 5.
And the break that Dale Earnhardt needed has happened. The caution flag has been waved because of Ken Campbell's car sitting there in front of you, Ned. The caution flag is out at the start-finish line.
Well, Campbell has moved away. Let's watch it now as he comes into from our speed gun camera. Kim Campbell loses it, gets down on the inside of the racetrack, spins around one more time. That's the Napa Moroso car. This is the second time that he's done that here today. 43 miles an hour when you hit those tires. And did some damage. He drove away.
And now we'll watch for more pit stops. Ken Schrader is on pit road. Jerry?
Well, Bob, Kenny has pulled it in. The car is shut off. They think it's a problem with the electrical system. They're changing ignition box. Now they have pulled the air cleaner off. They're going to go underneath the distributor, possibly a broken rotor inside of there. Could be something just as simple as that. The point is right now they just don't know, and Kenny's sitting in the car waiting very patiently as Richard Broom and the crew look over it. Kenny tries to turn the motor now, and it is not firing. This looks terminal.
Thank you, John, for the report. That's Ken Schrader on pit road with an electrical problem, giving up the lead here at the Budweiser at the Glen. Now, we'll let the whole field go through here as you watch for your favorite driver and see where he is on the racetrack. Here comes Sterling Marlin down through here in the Maxwell Haas car. There goes the King coming out of turn number 1. The field behind the pace track, moving up through the S's here at Watkins Glen on the 68th out of 90 laps. We are in our 5th caution period of the day. We'll be back in just a moment.
Hey, guys in the pits.
Yeah, go ahead, Benny.
Barry Dodson might have just snookered this whole bunch with that pit stop just a moment
That's
ago.
the point I wanted to make. If we come back, if we get a chance, I'd like to make that.
Exactly. That's somebody needs to. That was.
Barry had just told me, said, we get a caution, we'll win this thing.
Yep, that's right.
So, Barry Dodson.
He just stopped and changed 4 tires, and the caution comes out, so he'll be out in front of all these cars at pit.
Yeah, he's here.
Back at the Budweiser at the Glen, the yellow flag is out once again, and John Kernan is with Ken Schrader.
Well, Kenny, you're right up there at the front, and all of a sudden the motor just shut off.
Yeah, it just shut off. It's maybe a camshaft distributor or something like that. It's not electrical. They pulled the cap off, and the distributor's not turning. So we were looking pretty good. I don't think we were going to be able to stay up there in first, but we weren't going to be at the end of the line, that's for sure.
Well, last week, Kenny won an ARCA race out at Heartland Park in Topeka, Kansas, and Kenny, you said that that really pumped you up heading into here, even though it's a different type of track, different type of car.
No, I just, you know, these road courses, there for a couple of years I didn't like them, and you can't go into that with that attitude, and I just made up my mind I was going to like them, and they're starting to be a lot of fun.
Well, Kenny, not having a lot of fun right now as the work continues. If they can get it back out, they will get it back out and run for some Winston Cup points, I'm sure.
All right, Ken Schrader did pull off that very impressive victory at Heartland Park in Topeka last weekend, but things didn't go quite as well here at Watkins Glen. We are yellow because of this crash in Turn 5 involving Kim Campbell.
Well, he comes into Turn 5. Looks like he locked the brakes, Bob, as he came into the turn, got it down on the inside, but then it spins all the way around again one more time before it backs into the wall here, the tire wall. He was able to drive the car away, however. Tore the car up pretty good as we see him going around, but no damage to the fence over here that they just replaced not too long ago.
And you can see him shredding pieces off of that number 20 car as he headed for the pits. So
Bob.
Kim Campbell on pit road.
Bob.
Yes.
Why did these cars not pit?
Well, they don't need to because they give up track position, but Dale Earnhardt is in and Jerry Punch is there.
Well, a break for Earnhardt because he's able to get that, remain in the lead lap, I should say. They will change all 4 tires. There was a big discussion as to what they should do to the car. Remember, he had a toe-in problem after that little shunt up in Turn 5 between he and Jet 09. They have not as yet adjusted the front of the car up in the toe-in area. They just changed all 4 tires, and they're going to give Earnhardt a chance just to hang on for these last laps and try to get the best finish he can.
Yeah, he is in 18th position, the last car on the lead lap. So that pit stop really didn't cost him anything, and that's why he came in. Let's take a look at the top 20 here with 70 laps completed. It's Irvin Martin, Allison Rudd, and Wallace running in the top 5. 6 through 10 include Dale Jarrett and Strickland, Waltrip Elliott, and Chad Little with a good run here this afternoon. Sterling Marlin is 11th. The King is in 12th position. Brett Bodine after a spin 13th. Then Rutman and Cope, and 16 through 20 here at the Budweiser at the Glen. John Paul Jr., Dorsey, Schrader, Earnhardt, Wilson, and Hillen. Back in just a moment. Is that right, Benny? Is that right, Benny?
What?
They didn't have to.
Well,
they didn't want to give up track position.
Well, yeah, I can understand that. So that hurts the 24 car, and
yeah.
I guess everybody figures they can't make it now, Kevin.
I guess they can make it, so why give that track position away? Had a double file restart, it helped those guys.
That's a good point. I don't think we've made that point today.
Yeah. Who was that young lady who came up and got my car keys? I hope she's not stealing it. Just as you rejoin us, the green flag comes out to resume the Budweiser at the Glen, and Ernie Irvin leads him down, and Davey Allison looks to the inside of Mark Martin for second.
But he falls back in behind Mark Martin, so I think the 2 best cars on the racetrack right now, the 4 and the 6, are nose to tail, and they're going to be able to settle this on the racetrack. No pit stops, anything else. They should be able to go the rest of the way. I think they can go the rest of the way. If they can, we'll find out which car will be better at the end of the race.
And evidently they feel they can go the rest of the way, Benny, because they didn't take advantage of the caution they just had to make a pit stop, so they didn't want to give up that track position. So here we come now into turn 5, everybody in single file.
Dale Jarrett leading Hut Strickland through corner number 5. Inside his car now, showing you the Ford telemetry. Speed increasing on the upper right.
Third gear. He runs third gear all the way down the back straightaway. Downshift to second gear.
Now here's the GM telemetry from Dorsey Schrader's car.
And see, he was in fourth gear down that straightaway where Dale Jarrett was in third gear. He goes back to third through this corner where Dale is in second. I'm sorry. He and Dale Jarrett both are in second gear through this corner.
And again back to Dale Jarrett.
Back towards me in turn 1, downshift from third to second. There the green light goes down to second.
And Dale Earnhardt has been black flagged for jumping the start, so he will come in for a stop-and-go penalty. His pit is the very first one toward the first turn, and this will be just a stop.
And it goes.
Yeah, but it looked like the NASCAR official didn't really want him to pull away that much, but or that quickly. But now this is what he's being black flagged for. This is turn number 6. And the green flag waves out of turn number 7. And so the NASCAR officials caught that, and they brought him in for a stop and go. And Richard Childress is not happy about the situation at all. And neither is Kirk Shelmerdine, the crew chief, there in the back. Jerry?
Apparently they told Richard Childress that there would be a stop-and-go penalty for jumping the start. He told Earnhardt he wasn't happy about it. He realized those are the rules. Now Earnhardt, as he came down pit road, apparently was clocked, according to NASCAR, at over 35 miles an hour. So they were going to hold him 15 seconds for too fast on pit road. That message did not get relayed to Dale Earnhardt, so he took off again. And now there's a discussion among NASCAR and the Earnhardt team about bringing Dale back down pit road to invoke the 15-second penalty here in the pit. A tough break, and certainly a lot of heated tempers here in the Goodrich pit.
We're watching the flag stand, which is just down from our broadcast booth as you watch the action on the racetrack. Ernie Irvan with now Mark Martin right on his back bumper, and Earnhardt comes in without receiving the black flag. So obviously he has had radio communication with Richard Childress, and Earnhardt comes down pit road. This time he is going quite slow as he comes down.
But even so, Bob, he'll be able to make those 2 penalty stops and still stay in the lead lap with that big advantage that he gained with the caution. That's sort of gone out the window for him now. And we might mention to the fans, they noticed on the restarts, every time here today it's been a single file restart. That was announced in the drivers' meeting this morning, that that's the way that it would be, regardless of whether you're lap down or whatever. And they said if you're in the back of the pack anywhere really in the field as Earnhardt goes back out, that you do not pass the car until the green flag waves, but you could pass before you got to the start-finish line.
So Earnhardt now back in competition, remains the last car on the lead lap as the action on the racetrack. The battle for the lead is between Ernie Irvan and Mark Martin. Once again, for those of you tuning in hoping to watch tennis, stay with us because we will have highlights of that tennis match for you right after the conclusion of this race. And of course, the Trans Am race that was scheduled to follow the Winston Cup race, we broadcast this afternoon during our 2-hour red flag because of the crash up in turn number 5 that, again, we, with heavy hearts, inform you that J.D. McDuffie was killed in that crash earlier today. Jimmy Spencer has spun in turn 1, Benny.
I don't think he spun. Evidently the car, like Kenny Schrader's, just quit. And he drove it off the course. He's driven behind the wall. He did not spin to initiate all that getting off the racetrack.
So the 98 Banquet Frozen Foods car is off the racetrack. Mark Martin looking for the opportunity to get around Ernie Irvan as we have a battle between Chevy and Ford up front. Off of corner number 7, there's Davey Allison in 3rd, there's Rudd in 4th, and 5th is Rusty Wallace. And Wallace really came off that corner hard and got up on the rumble strips.
He's trying hard, and I tell you, these 2 cars in front are so evenly matched. It's hard to tell. Mark Martin closes up right on the bumper. He runs on the bumper of this Chevrolet all the way around the racetrack, but you can see how hard he's trying to get position on Irvan. Irvan not allowed him to do that.
15 laps to go.
As those tires heat up, Bob, they've been on there a little while now, but they, as we mentioned, the drivers chose not to come in to lose track position, but as they do, you're going to see them, especially when they come off the 7, they're going to slide up that mountain there. Looks very dramatic coming over there.
Dale Jarrett is having an excellent run. He's running in 6th position. That's who we ride with right now, watching the information supplied by the Ford telemetry. Down to about 86 miles an hour through that corner, and then standing on the throttle that you see there on the lower right portion.
Up to 8,500 RPMs across that short shooting third gear.
Don't want to get much higher than that.
Boy, I'll tell you what, that's as many RPMs as you want to turn with 358 cubic inches.
Yeah, that gets a little tough on those valve springs when you get much above that. But, you know, you're getting near the end of the race. You have Darrell Waltrip not too far behind him. You can see Rusty Wallace up there in front of him. So he says, hey, I got to run her as hard as I can.
He stays in 3rd gear down the front stretch here, now down to 2nd as he goes into turn 1. And will upshift once again to 3, heading for turn 2. And he is not very far at all behind the first 5 cars that are pretty much hooked together.
And he dumps it in the 4th gear. Now he goes all the way down the back straightaway, letting the RPM build up and the speed build up. We can see him getting himself in position to downshift the 3rd gear and jump on the brakes right now, hard on the brakes.
Well, he went up to 173 before he got under the brakes, so that's still a pretty good speed considering, you know, that the tires are a little heated up now and not getting off of turn 1 back there as fast, or turn 4 as fast, I should say.
And Dorsey Schrader is in 24th position. Let's watch his RPM.
Dorsey Schrader's off the pace. Dorsey Schrader's off the pace.
We have lost the link in the telemetry. There we go again. Watching the RPM increase here.
We can see that Dorsey Schrader's car has lost a cylinder. It's on 7 cylinders. Evidently the car is just not at the speed.
Good run for Dorsey Schrader, who led this race at one point. Now back to Dale Jarrett. And let's go to Jerry Punch with a comment on Dorsey Schrader.
Benny, you're exactly right. In fact, Dorsey Schrader just radioed to his pits and told Barry Dawson it appears the engine is just about to let go in the car number 24. He said the vibration is getting worse and worse. He's going to try to milk it home for these last few laps. Could go at any moment.
Brett Bodine spun, and boy, Dorsey came
right in the middle of the racetrack. Right in the middle of the racetrack, and along comes Wally Dallenbach. Now he's coasting across the racetrack in front of Jim Durhog and Homer Kimbrough, and they both get by. Come on, Brett, get the car out of the way. There you go.
Gets that Quaker State Buick down to the inside of the racetrack and off the surface. Here it is in replay. Car sitting there sideways in the middle of turn number 1. Dallenbach off the course, and we were riding with Dorsey Schrader, and I thought he was going to nail Brett Bodine, but he didn't. He was able to maneuver past him. Now Brett has the car going once again, as here comes the leaders now. Ernie Irvan and Mark Martin.
And we see that the 90 car, Wally Dallenbach, has a left front tire a moment ago when he tried to dodge the 26 car. The left front tire was flat, and you can see he's down on the wheel now.
Yeah, he's down on the rim.
Coming around turn 5 here. He's keeping it down on the inside of the racetrack. I think that wheel just went right on out of harm's way up there as he started into turn 5. The leaders are coming into turn 5 here right now as we watch Wally Dallenbach, but everything seems to be okay.
Yeah, unlike earlier when a shredded tire landed in the middle of the race course, Dallenbach shredded his and it went well off the racing surface, and so no yellow, at least for the moment. As Dallenbach tries to make his way back toward the pits, here comes Ernie Irvan and Mark Martin. First and second, Bobby Hamilton there in car number 68.
Brett Bodine has pulled his Quaker State Buick off the track back here coming into turn 5, so he's completely out of the way, but he has got it completely off the track.
79 laps are completed. We have 11 to go here at the Budweiser at the Glen. It's a battle between Ernie Irvan and Mark Martin, and we'll resume our live coverage after this. All right.
No, I never did. No, I saw the 53 car go blowing by him.
Yeah, he sure does. Back at the Budweiser at the Glen now with 10 laps to go. Urban with a little bit of an advantage on second place Mark Martin.
Yeah, we watched him nose to tail for a long, long time. Now there's about a 10-car length advantage all for Ernie Irvin back to Mark Martin. We're watching all the cars come by turn one. There with the King, Richard, Sterling Marlin, Alan Kowicki, Derek Cope, Jeff Bodine, Joe Ruttman is still out there, Bobby Hillen, Harry Gant, after an extensive stay in the garage years, back on the racetrack. And there is the 53 of John Paul Jr. Rick Wilson, the Snickers Buick, goes by.
Just so you can get an idea.
Dorsey Schrader.
And the King, by the way, is in 11th position. So it's been a good day at the Budweiser at the Glen for King Richard Petty. He's 11th.
And about to take over 10th, Bob, as he comes into turn 5. He's on the inside of Chad Little trying to make a pass on him.
There's Dale Earnhardt. He is in 17th place, the last car on the lead lap. We see that Ernie Irvin continues to maintain his advantage over Mark Martin, albeit very, very slim. Davey Allison running back there in third. Fourth is Rudd. Fifth, Wallace. Sixth, Jarrett. Seventh, Waltrip. And look who's in eighth position. It's Hut Strickland. And he ran very well here last year, and he's doing the same here this afternoon. Let's take a look at the serial. Lap 10, he was 25th, moved to 18th, to 9th, and currently at the end of 81 laps is in 8th position. And Bill Elliott is running in 9th, right behind Hut Strickland.
Mark Martin's closed up a little bit. A little bit ago he was 10 car lengths back. Now he's just 3 or 4. Ooh, Mark almost spun the car coming off turn 5.
He is doing everything he can to find his way to victory lane here this afternoon. Mark Martin we're talking about. It would be his first win of the 91 season. And the points are going to be very interesting after this race because Dale Earnhardt, way back in 17th position, is going to lose ground to Irvin, to Mark Martin, to Davey Allison, and to Ricky Rudd because all of these guys are up in the top 5. Through the S's once again. First and second. They come out of corner number 4 and head down that long backstretch toward Ned Jarrett.
Well, we're going to put our laser gun on them again and see if we can pick up the speed of Ernie Irvin. We might be blocked by a car, indeed we are, by another car coming in there, but we did take him up at 165 as he came in there. You know, this is a very interesting gun that we have here. It's going on sale to the law enforcement officers around the country as the car number 68 looks like Bobby Hamilton blowing an engine coming off of turn 5 and Rusty Wallace right behind him. Rusty's going to get on by okay, but this is a really a neat gun that we have here that we can zero in on any particular car as they come into this turn. And by the way, Bob, that gun is eye-safe. No problem with it as far as the drivers coming in here looking into that laser.
And just remember that when you're driving home tonight. Don't exceed the speed limit because law enforcement agencies throughout the U.S. have use of this particular gun. Well, that speed that we saw Ernie Irvin achieve at the end of the backstretch there was about 10 miles an hour slower than what we saw the leaders achieve earlier in the race, but it was in the braking zone. Martin continuing to work on Ernie Irvin. Has been following him for many, many laps now and has not found the opportunity that he is looking for. And now as they come around, there will only be 6 more laps to go in this 90-lap event. Well, Jerry Punch, who's the mechanic of the race for this Budweiser at the Glen.
Well, Bob, no surprise, given you look up front, you see who's running there. It's Tony Glover, who's the crew chief for Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Chevrolet. Well-deserving Tony Glover, and he's been named the Western Auto Mechanic of the race, and right now he's hoping that his driver can hold on these last few laps. They realize road courses can be pretty treacherous, as Alan Quickie just found out up in turn 5.
Yeah, he lost control coming through this turn, Jerry, and spun way much farther down than the other drivers that we've seen spin here. He thought he was going to be able to keep it out of the wall, but he didn't, but he is going again now, so maybe there will be no full course caution. There is a caution in this area, but Alan Quickie will go again.
No indication that we will have an overall caution as Doyle Ford does not make a move for it. This is how it happened.
Well, you see, he just came in there. He might have hit the brakes and locked him up. He was pretty close to another car coming into that turn, Bob. And once he got the brakes locked, he just kept spinning it around, hoping to keep it off of those tires. But you can see it touches fairly heavy, but not as heavy as something we've seen.
No serious damage to the car. He has it headed in the right direction again. And now back up front, it is still Ernie Irvin being pursued by Mark Martin. Like it's going to come down to a battle between these two.
I don't know. Look right behind him. Is Davey Allison caught these guys, or am I just imagining things?
Yeah, I think maybe he is closing in on him a little. Davey Allison, of course, won that controversial race at Sears Point on the road course in June. Yeah, Benny, I think you're right. He is catching him. Ricky Rudd is back there in 4th.
Problem is, he's 3rd. He's not 2nd. He has to pass both Mark Martin and Ernie Irvin if he expects to win the race.
He can catch him, but the problem is passing him.
Well, they're beginning to get strung out just a little bit here now as we get down in the waning laps. I mentioned Bobby Hamilton a moment ago as we watch Ernie Irvin there. Hamilton is smoking heavily every time he goes through turn 5. When he comes into the turn, everything's fine. Once he gets out of this turn, everything's fine. So I don't know if he's got an oil overflow or what the situation is, but for the Bobby Hamilton fans, he's still out there running.
Ernie Irvin made the pass on that 54 car driven by Jim DeHaag at 104 miles an hour.
Yeah, that's pretty steamy speed at the point of the racetrack that he was on. But he made
it. Ernie Irvin turning laps just in excess of 118 miles an hour. And those guys are really hanging it out now in the final laps in those rumble strips at turn number 6.
And we can watch him come off these corners and kick the back end out as they're trying desperately to get every mile an hour possible out of these cars. And Martin, once again, and falling back about 10 car lengths, has closed back up on the back bumper of Ernie Irvin. And Davey Allison looks to me like he's just another couple of car lengths closer, but we're running out of laps. 4 laps to go.
And it's just a matter of car lengths now between 1st and 2nd, and not too far back to 3rd position. That's being occupied by Davey Allison.
And fellas, as we get down into these last 2 or 3 laps, we've been seeing them slide up on those ripple strips. Wait till we get to those last 2 laps and really watch them slide up on them.
Mark Martin's best finish this year, 2nd at Pocono. We're going to watch him now over those rumble strips with the ground cam as they head into turn number 6. That's a good shot.
And here comes Martin, closing up right on the back bumper. We can see him there. We saw him come up, get the back end up on the rumble strips. And Davey Allison, I'm telling you, he's just another couple of car lengths closer than he was the last time.
3 laps to go.
Yeah, that's the traffic that's going to kill him. 3 laps to go.
That's right. The circuit is 2.4 miles. NASCAR, of course, uses the short course here at Watkins Glen. There is an additional portion of this racetrack that's used for some racing, called the boot, but this is the short course that they're using. Well, he was up to about 146, was it, Ned?
Yeah, he already had the brakes on pretty heavy when he got down to 146.
Yep.
Martin is right on the back bumper. They're coming down with 2 laps to go. Oh, Ernie ran over.
Ernie did run over the rumble strip. That's just an indication of how much they're letting it hang out here in the closing stages. Looked like our tread cam that bit the dust last Saturday night at Indianapolis Raceway Park in the Grand National race that we hope you saw last night on ESPN.
And go ahead. Martin wants to get as close to the back of Ernie Irvin as he can to pressure, try to make him slip. We saw him miss a gear earlier on, and 3 or 4 cars got by him. Martin wants that to happen, but the last few laps, Ernie Irvin has been almost perfect, hasn't he?
Yes, he has. He's been driving a very good line, and I'm sure that mistake that he made a little bit earlier, that he's remembering that and saying, hey, I don't want to do that again. And if my calculations are right, as they come into turn 5 here, Bob, Richard Petty has moved into the top 10, and it'll be his first top 10 finish of the year if he does stay there.
That's right. Since Pocono in July of 1990, Richard Petty has a top 10 finish going. He is in 10th position, and this time around, they will get the white flag indicating 1 more lap to go. They approach turn number 6 once again. Didn't run over the rumble strips that time. He came close, but didn't quite do it. Now off of corner number 7 into corner number 7, off of it, and the white flag is being displayed to Ernie Irvin.
And Mark Martin tries to get on the inside. Here's Davey Allison. Mark is going to try to outbrake him down here. Oh, they're alongside, they're side by side, and Martin has to jam on the brakes, and he spins, and also the 28 car spins.
Mark Martin and Davey Allison both spin in turn number 1, the 2nd and 3rd place cars. Mark just went in a little too hard there on the inside of Ernie Irvin in a bid for the lead. I thought he had the corner made, but as he came out, the car got around on him, and Davey Allison also had to stand on the brakes and spin, and that's going to give the victory, apparently, to Ernie Irvin.
And Davey Allison just now got his car going as Richard Petty comes off the corner, and Richard goes by.
Boy, Richard Petty is going to have a very, very good finish here this afternoon. And Ricky Rudd is also going to benefit from this, not only in terms of where he finishes in the race, but of course the all-important points that he will gain. Now here is Ernie Irvin in the Kodak Film Chevrolet coming off of corner number 6, headed for the final corner here at Watkins Glen International. Here he comes, Ernie Irvin. Receives the checkered flag and wins the Budweiser at the Glen. Ernie Irvin from Modesto, California wins his 2nd event of the year and his first since the Daytona 500. Well, an unfortunate situation.
While they're coming down in turn.
Oh, and Hut Strickland crashes here on the main straightaway. This is the replay, Benny.
Mark is trying so hard to get on the inside of Ernie Irvin, and he has to get back on the gas too soon. Davey Allison comes along with no place to go, and both those Fords spin out together.
And we had another angle of it. And as you can see, Mark spun, Allison spun right behind him, eliminating 2nd and 3rd place finishes for these two. Now, here's what happened with Hut Strickland and Bill Elliott, as Hut made heavy contact with the inside wall coming off of corner number 7, and Bill Elliott also spun around. You remember Elliott had a problem in the last lap last year.
Well, those two fellas have been racing lap after lap for that. I don't know what spot they're racing for, but they've been nose to tail for the last 15, 20 laps.
So the Budweiser at the Glen is completed, and Ernie Irvin has won. We'll be back here at Watkins Glen after this. Okay. Are we doing a winner interview? We're just getting right off, huh? In the beautiful New York countryside lies Watkins Glen International. The scene today of the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race, the 18th stop, and it's been won by Ernie Irvan. Our Speed World coverage has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. Well, it's been a long afternoon here at Watkins Glen International, but the Budweiser at the Glen is complete. As you take a look at the top 20 finishers, our congratulations to Ernie Irvan. And once again, from all of us here at ESPN, sincere condolences to all of the family of J.D. McDuffie, who lost his life in a crash here at Watkins Glen earlier this afternoon. Stay tuned for tennis coming up here on ESPN. And of course, we will have a lot more racing for you next Sunday here on ESPN, as we'll be at the 2-mile oval at Michigan International Speedway for the Champion Spark Plug 400. Again, Ernie Irvan has the victory here at Watkins Glen. For Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch, this is Bob Jenkins. Thanks for joining us, and so long, everyone.
I got completely started with there a couple times, and we only thought I had losing, but me and Mark got racing paint down last time, and I just got into the middle of the track and said, well, there's the inside, there's the outside, and he was wanting the same way I was, and he just got in real deep, and that's it, and he said he hit me and knocked me out, but he didn't do it, and my hat's off to him. A lot of people said that you did a good job down in Talladega when you got bumped, and you didn't complain, and after the heat that you'd taken from a couple races before, looks like it's all over. Well, it's never over, it's something that's always been our past, and we're going to keep it in our past. We're just going on, and this is a great race team, and it was sponsored right here in town, right in Rochester. What better place to win?
Nice job. See you later. See you in Michigan. I'm going to miss a couple. I'll be back. Darlington. Good. Okay.
ESPN?
Yeah.
Cool, guys.
The Budweiser at the Glen. Stop number 18 on the Winston Cup Trail for 1991 is history here this afternoon. In front of a capacity crowd, Ernie Irvan comes out as the victor. Our Speed World coverage of the Budweiser at the Glen has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Budweiser, the king of beers, with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. Let's go to Victory Lane. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Ernie Irvan has climbed out of his Kodak Chevrolet, and they are indeed happy. Ernie, congratulations on a great win here for you.
Well, I tell you what, this is a great race team, and we've came back from a lot of deficits all year, and we want to dedicate this race to J.D. McDuffie. He won the last race he was in, and great man, and it was hard to drive by that corner every lap, but we just want to dedicate this race to him, and I owe it all to Kodak, Tony Glover, and Chevrolet, and Delco Remy.
Last lap, going into turn one, looked like Mark was going to make a move on you, and then everything broke loose. What happened?
Well, I don't know. I looked in my mirror. I got going in, and I had cars all around me, and I just drove in as hard as I could drive in and think I could make it. And the next thing I know, I looked in my mirror, and Mark was going backwards, and then that got Davey into it too. But Mark raced me clean the whole time. He could really beat me through the S's and down the back straightaway, but he just beat me through the corners there. But I could beat him everywhere else. So it was one heck of a race. I wondered when he was going to make his move, and I kind of gave it to him. So I was just pretty fortunate that he didn't be able to complete it.
Ernie Irvin picks up win number 2 in 1991 and his first ever road course win right here in front of the Eastman Kodak folks in New York at Watkins Glen.
That's right, Jerry. He has won 3 total Winston Cup victories as you take a look at the top finishers. 1 has been on a road course, 1 on a super speedway, and 1 on a short track. And as Ernie mentioned, from all of us here at ESPN, our sincere condolences to the family of J.D. McDuffie, who was fatally injured in a crash on lap number 6 here at Watkins Glen this afternoon. We have more racing coming up for you on ESPN. Next Sunday, we'll be at the 2-mile super speedway at Michigan International for the Champion Sparkplug 400. We hope you will join us for all the action next Sunday afternoon. My thanks to Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. And again, our congratulations to the winner of the Budweiser at the Glen, Ernie Irvin. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone. The Budweiser at the Glen. Stop number 18 on the Winston Cup Trail for 1991 is history here this afternoon. In front of a capacity crowd, Ernie Irvin comes out as the victor. Our Speed World coverage of the Budweiser at the Glen has been brought to you by Ford and your Ford dealer. Have you driven a Ford lately? By Budweiser, the king of beers with that clean, crisp, cold taste. Nothing beats a Bud. And by Quaker State, the Big Q is one tough motor oil. Let's go to Victory Lane. Here's Dr. Jerry Punch.
Well, Ernie Irvin has climbed out of his Kodak Chevrolet, and they are indeed happy. Ernie, congratulations on a great win here for you.
Well, I tell you what, this is a great race team, and we've came back from a lot of deficits all year, and we want to dedicate this race to J.D. McDuffie. He won the last race he was in, and great man, and it's hard to drive by that corner every lap, but we just want to dedicate this race to him, and I owe it all to Kodak, Tony Glover, and Chevrolet, and Delco Remy.
Last lap, going into turn 1, looked like Mark was going to make a move on you, and then everything broke loose. What happened?
Well, I don't know. I looked in my mirror. I got going in, and I had cars all around me, and I just drove in as hard as I could drive in and think I could make it. And the next thing I know, I looked in my mirror, and Mark was going backwards, and then that got Davey into it too. But Mark raced me clean the whole time. He could really beat me through the S's and down the back straightaway, but he just beat me through the corners there. But I could beat him everywhere else. So it was one heck of a race. I wondered when he was going to make his move, and I kind of gave it to him. So I was just pretty fortunate that he didn't be able to complete it.
Ernie Irvin picks up win number 2 in 1991 and his first ever road course win right here in front of the Eastman Kodak folks in New York at Watkins Glen.
That's right, Jerry. He has won 3 total Winston Cup victories as you take a look at the top finishers. 1 has been on a road course, 1 on a super speedway, and 1 on a short track. And as Ernie mentioned, from all of us here at ESPN, our sincere condolences to the family of J.D. McDuffie, who was fatally injured in a crash on lap number 6 here at Watkins Glen this afternoon. We have more racing coming up for you on ESPN. Next Sunday, we'll be at the 2-mile super speedway at Michigan International for the Champion Sparkplug 400. We hope you will join us for all the action next Sunday afternoon. My thanks to Benny Parsons, Ned Jarrett, John Kernan, and Dr. Jerry Punch. And again, our congratulations to the winner of the Budweiser at the Glen, Ernie Irvin. This is Bob Jenkins. So long, everyone. Okay. Are they recording? Here we go. Here's your JIPs. You're watching highlights from the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen, New York. Due to time constraints, we now move ahead in our coverage. Welcome back to highlights of the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen International in New York. Let's move ahead now in our coverage. Back at Watkins Glen International in New York for highlights of the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race. We now move ahead in our coverage. Let's move ahead in our coverage now of the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen International in New York. Welcome back to the Budweiser at the Glen Winston Cup race from Watkins Glen International. Let's move ahead now in our coverage. Thank you, you too. Oh, I'm not going back till 4 o'clock tomorrow afternoon anyway, but I just hate to have tragedies. Thought you were reaching for this money, Len. What are you doing?